Wonderful. It is welcome to our May Community Board full board meeting. It is May 24th, 6:35 p.m. I'm calling the meeting to order. My name is Xavier Santiago. I am the chair of Community Board 11. I am joined tonight by our district manager, Angel Miskane, and our community associate, Marlene Pierre. First, I'd like to welcome our new members as well as those from the public. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being on time. You're going to be drinking from the fire hose, but in either way, shape, or form, we are here to help serve you and get you onboarded as quickly as possible. A few ground rules first. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, one, no one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through the Zoom function. If you click the participants icon, the participants panel should appear and you should find the raise hand function there. If you still have technical difficulty, you may click the chat icon and relay your difficulty to the staff. Members should not engage in a back and forth discussion in the chat. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. The chat function should not be used for CB11 business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat, again, should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing information like an email address or the date and time of an event that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. When a member is given the floor to speak, I will identify you. You can unmute yourself so that you can speak. Please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. Members of the public can register to speak in the public session by completing the pre-registration form and providing their name, affiliation, and what topic they wish to speak about. A link to the registration form has been shared in the chat. Registration for the public session needs to be completed by 7:15 p.m. Additionally, if there are those here to register for the public hearing at this time, I welcome you to submit that form too, but please note that it is for the public session regarding our agenda item. And now we will take attendance by roll call. And Giselle Malave, you have the roll call ready?
Yes, I do. Good evening, everyone. Okay, I'll begin attendance now. Jose Altamirano.
Present.
Leroy Andino. Stephanie Arroyo.
Present.
Eric Alcancela. April Autry. April. Adem Briha. Juhaid Chardy. Diane Collier.
Present.
Devon Cronshaw.
Present.
Kenneth Crouch.
Present.
Brianna Da Costa.
Here.
Carlos Diaz.
Present.
Rosa Diaz.
I'm present.
Angela Donadell.
Present.
Jessica Elliott.
Present.
Judith Fabraro. Roger Flores.
Present.
Okay. Osendi Garcia. Brandon Gillespie.
Present.
David Giordano.
Present.
John Green. Wanda Hopkins. James Horton.
Present.
Alonzo Johnson. Jewel Jones.
Present.
Marissa Mack.
Present.
Malik McCullough.
Present.
Jennifer Meyer.
Present.
Jessica Morris.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Nelson Orama.
Present.
Beverly Pavon. Arturo Perez.
Present.
Claudia Perez.
Present.
Roberto Perez. Savasia Robinson Teague. Natasha Rodriguez is excused. Eugene Rodriguez.
I'm here.
Dawn Sanders. Xavier Santiago.
Present.
Isaac Scott.
Present.
Russell Schuler,
Present.
Vincent Torres, Anne Marie Vasquez. Jason Villanueva is excused. Hilda Vives Vasquez. Michelle Wilshire Clement.
Present.
Jordan Wright,
Present.
Jason Wu.
Beverly Pavone is also present.
Thank you. Okay, we have quorum.
Thank you very much, Giselle. And give me just a moment. Okay, the agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and was posted online. If there is no objection, we will adopt the agenda as stated. Board members, if you object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand through Zoom. Seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. Now we'll move on to our pre-registered speakers. You will be afforded 3 minutes each. So again, going to go over the ground rules. One, must sign up to give testimony, providing your name and affiliation for the public record. 2, you will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. Our recommendation is to speak for 2 and entertain questions for at least 1. 3, should you address your testimony to the board, not the public. 4, you should speak clearly and into the microphone. 5, you should be prepared to respond to board members who may ask questions in order to clarify facts and opinions presented in your comments. And a little note to our board members, I have to say it every month, unfortunately, but just for the public as well, board members, please ask clarifying questions. Commentary will not be entertained. Angel, has anyone signed up to speak in the public session?
Yes.
Great. And I'll grab my pen so I can call them up as they.
Sure. The first registrant is Natalia Lewis, followed by Marina Ortiz.
Lewis and Marina Ortiz. Okay, wonderful. And if you could just pull up the clock for us, great, wonderful. Okay, Natalia Lewis, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I can't, I'm not sure why you can't see me. I don't know if that's a function on my end or what, but well, anywho, thank you for your time. Today I'm going to share information about the Connect program at Housing Works. The Connect program is a community-based program that expands the capacity of existing licensed mental health programs by engaging the clinic surrounding community in the development and design of enhancing mental health services. Through the Connect program, our clinic provides mental health services such as psychotherapy, crisis intervention, and case management in the field from a person's home or non-clinical setting, such as like a coffee shop, a library, or even at the park, wherever the person feels comfortable. We understand that mental health in itself is connected to social needs like housing instability, food and income insecurity, as well as safety, and so much more. And so the Connect program at Housing Work aims to be responsive to these needs by looking beyond what we traditionally think is mental health care. In addition, the program provides offerings such as mental health presentations, yoga, food gatherings, and food pantries, and so much more. The agenda and the offerings of these programs are all guided by the community. The community determines the needs of the community, and so it's so important that we look to the community for their input to direct the work that we're doing. So we've created a short questionnaire that hopefully gathers the information on what the community deems is important to them. We would really appreciate it if someone would, if everyone could take the time and complete this questionnaire, so it could really help us just guide the work that we do. And that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'll leave my contact in the chat along with the questionnaire. And that's it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. You can send along the questionnaire to our district manager, and he can help with the distribution. I'm going to go to Angela Donadell and then Brianna DaCosta.
Good evening. I do not completely understand what your presentation was. You're talking about connecting people, but you said you were for Housing Works?
Yeah, so the
So
program
how
is
does that work?
So the program, it's called Connect. It's called Connect. It's an acronym. And the program itself we're providing services through Housing Works. Housing Works is the name of an organization. It has several sites throughout New York. And the program itself, it's a mental health driven program. So we're providing non-traditional, which we're providing mental health services, but not necessarily in the traditional mental health setting. So understanding that everyone doesn't feel comfortable coming into a clinic to receive mental health services, we are literally meeting folks where they're at. So if they're more comfortable receiving services at home, we will assign a therapist to go to this person's home to provide the therapy. If they're more comfortable receiving the services at a park, a local library, maybe even their bodega, whatever they feel comfortable doing, we will assign a therapist to go to meet this person where they're at so they can receive the services. In addition, we understand that there are so many different psychosocial or social determinants that really affects a person's mental health. And so maybe mental health may not be the priority of this person, but something as simple as, I don't know, removing the garbage can, consistently removing the garbage in front of a person's home could improve this person's quality of health. Quality of life, and just getting that input is really what's going to determine how we navigate the work that we do. I hope that answered your question.
No, it didn't. What I'm trying to understand is you work for Housing Works is
Right.
affiliated with every building in East Harlem or particular buildings. How does one get connected to you? What is the pivotal point?
Okay.
What's the link?
Right. So the name is a little bit misleading. So we don't provide housing itself. Housing Works was created some time ago to support folks that are living with HIV, to provide them with housing because there was so much discrimination at one time for folks that were living in Housing Works. Since its inception, it's expanded to provide a lot of different services like clinical services, mental health services, substance abuse services, support through HACA. And so it's not exactly a housing program, but we do have folks that are connected to different resources in the event that someone is interested in housing, if that makes sense. But this program.
Thank you, Angela. I'm gonna have to move this along, right?
Yeah,
We have more
I
question. Brianna
still don't
DaCosta.
understand.
Yeah,
So
so
I'll leave my information
Yeah.
in the chat, and you're more than welcome to give me a call or shoot me an email, and we can talk a little bit more about this offline.
yeah, that'd be wonderful. Please drop your information in the chat. Brianna DaCosta, real quick.
Thank you. I was just wondering, what is your primary age demographic? Is it working individuals or young adults, possibly ending high school or starting college?
Anyone above the age of 18.
That's a good question. Okay, wonderful. Could you just give us your contact email and phone number, and I will then move us on to Marina Ortiz. So we
Sure.
can state it aloud, and then you can type it in the chat. Thank you.
Sure, I put it in the chat, but do you want me to say it
State it
aloud?
for the record, please.
Okay. First name is Natalia, last name is Lewis, and I am the program manager of community strategy at Housing Works. My telephone number is 718-219-9464, and my email address is n.louis@housingworks.org. That's HOUSINGWORKS.org.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate your
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Marina Ortiz, you're up. Marina?
Dave, I don't see Marina in the list. Maybe we can come back around to her.
Okay.
The next registered speaker is Judith Elster.
Okay. Judith, you're up. You have 3 minutes. I do not see her in the attendees.
The next one is Adam Cruz.
Adam Cruz, I do see you in the attendees. You have 3 minutes.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Adam Cruz. I work with a program, career training program called Year Up. And what we offer are free career training we offer free career training for about 1 year's worth of time. Sometimes it's less, but we focus on fields of technology, finance, and business. So I'm here today to let you guys know that we increased our age range. So we service people from 18 to 29 who have high school diplomas or GED. And we are actually promoting a program we have for consumer banking. So for anybody who's interested in getting into career for consumer banking, we train people for a few months, about 2 months, and then we provide them an internship at a top company like a Chase, a Bank of America, BNY Mellon. So they get the training and they get the internship opportunity for free, and they can earn a stipend while in the program as well. We're located downtown Manhattan. I will put our website in the chat box and my email. But yeah, it's a great opportunity. We also have technology programs. We have an investment program and a business program. But right now we're really promoting the July 26th consumer banking. Like I said, it's a free program. We train you. There's also a learning community, so you get coaches and mentors. And if you don't find a job, if your internship doesn't turn into a job, we continue to support and help you till you find your job in your career field. So I just want to open it up for questions if there are any.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Could you just state your contact information aloud, please?
Yeah, it's A Cruz. It's ACRUZ01 at yearup.org. It's YEARUP.org.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. As I saw them ping up rapidly, Kenneth Crouch, Jessica Morris, and then Marissa Mack. So Kenneth.
Thank you. And thank you, Adam, for the presentation. I'm just curious, you mentioned there's a 2-month training period. Is there a stipend available for that training period, or is that, yeah.
So it's $200 for the learning and development, and then the internship is $600.
I'm sorry, could you state that again? I just didn't catch that last part.
Yeah, so during learning and development, which is 2 months, that's $200 a month during learning and development. And the internship is $600 a month.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I saw Jessica's hand going down. I'm presuming that was a similar question. So I will go to Marissa.
Yes, thank you, Adam. Love your wonderful program. I just wanted to ask, you said that the age has been expanded. What's the age now, or what's the range currently?
So it's 18 to 29 years old.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you so much. Great work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, Jessica. Yes. Or
Thank you, Xavier. Yes, I think Kenneth's question initially answered the one that I have. Can you clarify how else do you reach your target population beyond this community board outreach? It's a great program.
Yeah. So we reach out to high schools, and I'm a recruitment manager, so I'm always willing to connect with organizations that might have just community members who would be interested in a program like this. There's not a lot of free finance opportunities in New York. There are tech ones, but yeah, so we offer both. But yeah, I definitely like to promote the fact that we have finance opportunities.
Okay, that's a great question, Jessica. I think what'll be good is that we could possibly have you come into our Youth and Education Committee, present there. You can be acquainted with our superintendent, Dr. Christy De La Cruz, and I think that would be a good bridge to make. So
yeah, that'd be great. And email me. Anybody, if you want to connect, just shoot me an email.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Adam. Appreciate you. Okay, next, Angel.
The next 2 registered speakers are Tamika Mapp and Noel Alicia.
Okay, Tamika, you are up. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Tamika Mack, the State Committee woman for the 68th Assembly District. I'm here to talk about the opposition for Chipotle. I know they're up on the boards for trying to get their beer, wine, and liquor license with the board, and I'm just hoping that you guys will deny that license, because when big chains come into our communities, they're going to displace or restaurants that's already there. So we know that on 116th Street we have Mexican food trucks lined up and down. I'm afraid when Chipotle gets in, they're going to start calling the cops and trying to displace the people that we have here. We already have a Mexican food here, so I don't understand why Chipotle wants to come to our community. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Tamika, do we have any questions from our board members? Okay. Brianna DaCosta.
Yeah, I have a question about these food trucks. Are they a yearly thing? Do they stay year round in maybe the same vicinity, or are they only there for a season? And if so, do you know if they live in the neighborhood?
Yes, we're not talking just about the trucks, but some of the trucks are there year round. We're also talking about the neighboring businesses that's there as well, that already serve the need in the community as well. So if you go on the other side of 116th Street from 3rd Avenue all the way to 2nd, we already have 2 or 3 restaurants that do the same exact thing that Chipotle is trying to do in our neighborhood.
Thank you, Brianna. Thank you for the question. Are there any more board member questions? Okay. Seeing that there are none. Thank you, Tamika. Again, any of those who are wishing to speak during the public session, please sign up to do so. The registration link is in the chat. Noel, you're up.
Hi, everyone. Noel Alisea from your local community public hospital, Metropolitan. A couple of quick updates. Tomorrow, we're hosting a groundbreaking ceremony with EDC for the FEMA-funded flood barrier that's going to go around the hospital. This is a project that came about after flooding that happened at the hospital during Hurricane Sandy. The project construction has already started along First Avenue, and if you've gone by there, you've seen that there have been some movement of the sidewalk and the bike path. That's where the first phase of the project will be. The groundbreaking will be tomorrow, as I mentioned. We're very excited about this project. It's going to fortify the hospital and protect it so that next time there's a huge storm, there won't be any significant damage. During Hurricane Sandy, there was significant flooding. The hospital was able to remain open during that time and actually accept patients from Bellevue that had sustained significant damage. But we want to make sure that Metropolitan stays strong and able to serve this community. Second thing I want to mention is senior health fairs coming up. We had postponed the senior health fair for a couple of years, but it's back on June 8th. This is our annual event with New York City Council Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala, the Department for the Aging, Parks, Union Settlement, and a bunch of community partners. It's going to be June 8th. It's a Wednesday, from 10 to 2 in Thomas Jefferson Park at the basketball courts near Pleasant Avenue. Rain date is the following date on June 9th. We continue to provide walk-in testing on 97th Street and vaccine and boosters by appointment. We'll know from, hello?
The hell happened?
Hi, please mute yourself if unless you were speaking. Go on, Noel.
You will know that there has been a slight surge in cases, so please be careful. If you haven't been boosted and you're able to be boosted, I encourage you to do that. Last but not least, on a personal note, I'd like to let you all know that I will be leaving Metropolitan in early June. I've accepted a position at Bellevue doing similar work. I'm excited about staying within the public hospital system. Please feel free to reach out. I should have the same email address. I will continue as a neighbor and as a constituent of this community board. So if you see me around, say hi. Thank you.
Sorry to see you go. Well, Jessica, you had your hand up.
Thank you, Xavier, and thank you, Noel, for all of your service and commitment to keeping us informed from our local neighborhood hospital, as you say. If you can, first question, just what time is the groundbreaking tomorrow? And then coupled with that, I know we ran into each other probably a good year or so ago underneath FDR at 96th Street, both biking, coming off the bike path on the way over to the Metropolitan campus. And I asked you if Metropolitan had a master plan, in that there are a lot of undeveloped assets around the hospital that now look like car parks. I think with the fortification of the hospital and the understanding of the sort of existing assets perhaps underutilized, and investment in local infrastructure, not just roads and bridges, but also things like public hospitals. My question is, does the hospital have a master plan, and when does the community advisory board meet, and how do we get involved locally? Last question would be, if you can, make sure that whoever fills your shoes at Metropolitan knows where to find us, and keep us informed in the great way that you have done. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Jessica. The groundbreaking is tomorrow at 11 a.m. on the First Avenue entrance of the hospital, enter from 97th Street. The Community Advisory Board meets on the first Thursday of each month, except for July and August. Those meetings have been happening virtually. They happen at 5 p.m. That's for the full board meeting. In terms of master plan, I don't know of a master plan. I know that there are a number of lots around the hospital, some of which are owned by health and hospitals, some of which are owned by other city agencies, specifically sanitation, where there are discussions going that have been underway for a while. I know Department of Sanitation has its own community advisory group that meets on a regular basis, specifically about the lot on 99th and 1st. There are 3 lots there. And as this community board has been very active about keeping an eye on the move of the garage from 99th Street to another location. You had another question.
About whomever will fill your shoes, which
Yes.
is not going to be an easy task. We'll find you at Bellevue, but to encourage your not predecessor, but to come find us and continue to do the good work that you've been doing.
Thanks. Definitely. We're making sure that whoever comes into this role understands the important role that our community board plays and is part of kind of the ongoing work with you.
Thank you very much, Jessica. Thank you, Noel. Seeing no further hands. Appreciate you and your service. Well, don't be a stranger, and we'll look forward to your replacement coming to attend on a regular basis. Thank you. Angel, who are the next 2?
That's all we have for the public speakers.
All right, I'm going to circle back to Marina Ortiz. Marina? Okay. Next is Judith Elster. Judith Elster. Okay. That will now conclude our public session
Xavier, we have one more.
We do.
Pilar de Jesus.
Yes, Pilar, you have 3 minutes. Welcome.
Hola, guys. I was gonna say, how did you guys forget me? So I'm gonna try to make this really quickly. I'm so sad that the other folks who I've invited to speak did not make it, but I also think that, anyway, I'm here to just pretty much say that as the Vice President of East Harlem Preservation, we are asking the board to oppose the liquor and license for Chipotle. I think that honestly, it's, in my opinion, that it's disrespectful of Chipotle to even consider this community, especially the 116th Street, like literally down the block from all the Mexican restaurants that exist there, and they have existed. And as a Puerto Rican Mexican American, born and raised in this community that loves to frequent all of these business, from Taco Mix, from Jalapeno, from all the small business, from Doña Quesadilla, from all these businesses that are true, real, authentic Mexican food. As a Mexican American, as I mentioned, I know and I appreciate the value of the culture of my community. And I understand that community development is important for us, and I do support that, but I do not support big corporations. And as a vice president of East Harlem Preservation, I personally, especially we do not support big corporations that are going to displace small business owners. Yes, they bring workers. Why do we keep encouraging workers instead of encouraging owners and generational wealth? The people that have built and had these businesses in our communities, authentic Mexican restaurants that have existed here way before the Chipotles, the Targets, the Costcos, before anybody looked at our community as a profitable community because of Second Avenue subway and whatever else is happening when it comes to gentrification, aka colonization of our community and our culture, because we're losing our culture of what El Barrio stands for. El Barrio is Latino, Puerto Rican, Mexicano, immigrants, the marginalized communities that built this freaking city and state. And I find it disrespectful for corporations that make $7.1 trillion or billion dollars. Forgive me if I say the wrong amount, but they make a lot of money and they don't give nothing back, because if they gave something back, then we wouldn't have 225,000 eviction cases in housing court, which are majority marginalized communities like the owners or the families that are like Mexicano, Puerto Riqueño, Dominicano, all the Latinos, the non-white. That's what they are. And Chipotle is a white company. It represents, in my opinion, the McDonald's of Mexican, and it'll be shameful for this board to approve. Thank you. Kept that under 3 minutes, guys. Aren't you proud of me?
So Jessica Morris, you had your hand up for a question.
Thank you, Xavier. Thank you, Pilar. My question is, and I do sit on licenses and permits, and was a part of the conversation a couple of weeks ago. My question is if anyone has formally reached out to the corporation to potentially propose some type of corporate social responsibility due diligence in their stake in East Harlem. I think the creative ideas won't come from the corporation, but they can perhaps come from the community. So if anybody has reached out to the corporation, I believe
we have not, but I'm gonna be very honestly, and I hear you what you're saying, but let's just be honest. These corporations, their little compliance or whatever they throw at us is not what's going to help those small businesses out. Let's not do that to them. They have any other block. Go to 96th Street. I don't know. Go to 95th. Why is it that you literally go down
So
the
hold on,
block
Pilar. The answer is that no. And again, I'm going to ask my board.
But we can if you like.
So again, the questions to be very succinct in response as well, just given the time of managing the meeting, and I appreciate your respecting that. So, so the answer to that is no. Angel, did they come to attend economic development? Clarify.
Did they talk to the people at the restaurants? Did Chipotle talk to us?
Hey, Pilar, I asked Angel a specific question that clarifies it's irrelevant. Thank you, Pilar. Angel,
They have not. I can answer too as Xavier's chair.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't see you in the tabs here. Thank you, Marissa. Okay, thank you. So that's something we need to entertain as well. Are there any other questions from the board members?
Xavier, if I could answer the question you asked?
Yes, please, Angel.
Yeah. So the representative for the applicant was invited to economic development this month, but was unavailable. They have committed to come next month to the economic development committee meeting.
Okay.
May I pose a follow-up question?
Yes.
That's okay. I'll hold it. It's fine.
No, you can ask real quick while we have it.
My question was answered.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Jessica. Thank you, Pilar. We appreciate you presenting.
Thank you
It
for,
is now.
sorry.
Yeah,
I know
no,
you
it's fine.
guys miss me, but sorry.
No, we appreciate everyone participating. This is part of what we need is more of the community weighing in and participating. So again, just keeping things on an efficient level. Appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you out there this summer. Are there any other pre-registered public speakers, Angel?
No, that was the end of the list.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to now move on to our elected official reports. Again, these will either be the elected officials attending, as we had a fair few last month, or their representatives. If you have not already signed up to speak, we ask that the elected officials or their representatives please alert our staff in the chat if they wish to give a report. Very important. We ask that any event service literature be sent to our office so that we may post and share it as is appropriate. Please keep your report to 3 minutes and to be mindful not to repeat what others have already mentioned. Again, the rule is 2 and 1 that we ask you to observe. Land your jet in 2 minutes. We'll be able to ask some questions so we can stay on schedule. Angel, who do we have first in the queue?
Sure. So first we have Marco Perez from the District Attorney's Office, followed by Jack Lobel from Assemblymember Gibbs' office.
Okay. Marco, you have 3 minutes. Welcome back.
Thank you, Xavier and Angel, for the introduction. Again, everyone, my name is Marco Perez Jr. I'm the East Harlem Community Engagement Coordinator at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Glad to be in this space with you all. I only have 2 announcements. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office is hosting a gun buyback on Saturday, June 25th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. People who surrender their guns may receive a $500 prepaid card for an operable gun or assault rifle. There's a 5-gun limit on each payout. So essentially, community members who wish to surrender their guns can walk out with up to $2,500. This gun buyback is no questions asked. These guns will not be fingerprinted, investigated whatsoever. Once they are given to our gun specialist, they will be disposed of on that day. The location of the drop-off site for the gun buyback is Soul Saving Station, 302 West 124th Street, New York, 10027. Again, the gun buyback is June 25th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Soul Saving Station, 302 West 124th Street, New York, 10027. Second, the other event the Manhattan District Attorney's Office is hosting is the Art of Healing. The Art of Healing is a creative healing and artistic space we're using to address gun violence trauma through creative art and expression. This will be held at PSMS 007 on June 18th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. I will be sharing that flyer with you all shortly. We are finalizing the version as we speak. I did share the gun buyback flyer with Angel and Xavier. I asked everyone who received the flyer, and I will send it back out again to please share amongst your network. Thank you so much, and open to any questions.
Thank you. Board members, please raise your hands if you have any questions. Great. See it that there are none. Thank you very much for being with us in this space. I look forward to seeing you out there in the field.
Thank you.
Jack Lobel from the Assemblymember Gibbs. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, thank you. My name is Jack Lobel, and I'm from the Office of Assemblymember Eddie Gibbs. I'm happy to be back to highlight some of the good work we're doing in East Harlem and up in Albany. And I have a lot to go through in 3 minutes, but I would be thrilled to answer any questions afterwards. So first, I have a legislative update. Assemblymember Gibbs has now passed 3 bills since we last met to deal with environmental conservation, and the other would ensure college students with disabilities have access to instructional materials in suitable formats. Assemblymember Gibbs has made making New York more accessible for people with disabilities a top priority, and advocates agree that this is a significant step. Next, Assemblymember Gibbs is taking the eviction crisis very seriously. There was a backlog of 220,000 New York City housing cases And that was, I think, a month ago, that number. So it's likely more now, with an increase in each month since the in cases each month since the moratorium was lifted. So we've taken 3 main steps with hopes to stop the rise. We've called on the OCA to slow the calendaring of eviction court cases. We've signed on to legislation to expand the right to counsel statewide. And finally, we have signed on to good cause eviction as a co-sponsor. And then last, for the legislative update, Assemblymember Gibbs is the first formerly incarcerated member of the New York State Legislature, so his perspective continues to be critical in helping key criminal justice reform items get to where they are today. So that includes the Clean Slate Act and parole justice bills. We have also been doing almost weekly visits to correctional facilities across the state, visiting those incarcerated and taking their perspectives into account when we introduce legislation. So those are just some of the things we're working on. Assemblymember Gibbs has introduced 20 prime-sponsored pieces of legislation and co-sponsored over 120 bills. And that includes introducing a bill that, and I know I touched upon this last time, but with the talk of Chipotle, I had to bring it up again, would make El Barrio the first cultural district in New York State. And this would be critical to preserving the culture of our neighborhood and supporting small businesses in our neighborhood, not corporations like Chipotle. So I'm sending information on how to get in touch with the assembly member and our team in the chat. And if you have any problems at all, no matter how big or small, please do not hesitate to give us a call. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have here at this time. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Marissa Mack, Judith Ribeiro, and then Eugene Rodriguez. So if you keep the questions succinct, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Xavier. Thank you, Jack, for reporting out on the work that the Assemblyman has done. I have just one question, actually, in regards to, there are a few bills that are out right now. I understand that have to do with limiting the number of social service facilities within either a particular zip code and or section of the city. And I wanted to know somewhat of where the Assemblyman stands in regards to either weighing in on these 2 bills. One is being presented by Inez Dickens. The other, I believe, is by Cordell Clare, but both around the idea of limiting the number of services within a district. So just wanting to know where he is on either weighing in on how those bills can be more effective and or presenting a bill of his own regarding that topic.
Yeah, so you're right. There are a number of bills and similar bills that deal with that. If you want to send specific bill numbers in the chat later on or give me an email, I can give you specific information specific to each bill, because I don't want to get any crisscrossed because I know there are a number.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marissa.
Of course. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Judith?
Hi, yes, I spoke to Eddie Gibbs and Jason Cruz when they had the NYCHA rally there. And our concern is, what about the tax abatements that are ending for the home ownership? And Jason and Eddie said that they would look into it, and I haven't heard a thing about that. There's about 500 lots just within the East Harlem area for the homeowners, and the tax abatement is expiring, or basically almost expired already. Is there any information on that?
Right. So I spoke to Jason on that. We are continuing to look into it. You said, I think he did not get back to you yet. If you want to send your email, I can make sure, based on what you asked of him, I can get you an answer on that immediately.
Okay, well, I did speak to Eddie Gibbs about it also. So.
Okay.
Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Jack. Eugene, your question? You're muted.
Yeah, this technology is new to me. I just want to get, I'm really interested in the designating East Harlem as a cultural district, and I'd like you to talk about that a little.
Right. So I know we discussed that before we introduced the bill to get your blessing on that. And I'm really happy you support that effort. We have heard from a lot of advocates on this, and everyone agrees that this would help bring our neighborhood the designation it deserves as being very unique in New York State. It would center small businesses. And when we talk about tourism in our city, for too long, neighborhoods like ours have been left behind when tourists come and then they don't visit the small businesses, or they visit large corporations, and the small businesses don't end up getting the money. So we're looking into the effects that this bill would have, but it looks like we'll be able to access specific money, specific pots of money that would be granted to small businesses in our neighborhood. And I think Eugene, Mr. Rodriguez, you are a proponent of making El Barrio a theater district as well. This would support the arts in our community in a way that would help lead to the eventual designation of El Barrio as a theater district, which would specifically help theater and the arts in El Barrio.
Okay, thank you very much for the question, Eugene, and thank you, Jack. I just have one quick question. We're going to move on. Of all the bills that have left the assembly, how many have been signed by the governor?
The three.
Just those three have been signed by the governor that you mentioned?
No, sorry. So yes, he's passed three. I don't think any have been signed by the governor yet.
Okay.
I can
Okay.
check back on that. Sometimes they don't have a Senate sponsor, so that's the common issue there.
It would be good
But I'll get back to you on that.
bring next time. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I just wanted to touch base on that. Okay, tell
course.
the member, thank you for doing the good work. All right, and moving on. Who's next, Angel?
Harry Gale from Councilmember Menon's office and Damaris Vasquez from Senator Claire's office.
Okay, Damaris. Harry, you're up.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Thanks for having me back this month. It's been a very busy month for Councilwoman Julie Menon in our office. I'd like to start since supporting our small businesses have been such a hot topic during this meeting already so far. It's important to remind you all that the Councilwoman is the chair of the Small Business Committee in the council. So please reach out to us with any initiatives that you would like us to take on for you. In the meantime, we've been extremely busy on that front. At a stated meeting earlier this month, the department, we've actually requested and proposed a bill that a Department of Small Businesses and Cultural Affairs support tourism as a department for small businesses, a small businesses tourism department, an agency. Additionally, we joined the mayor in announcing initiatives to curb fines against small businesses with the commissioner of SPS. We've already identified $86 million of fines that will be axed already during fiscal year 2023. Additionally, on the small business front, we've proposed many resolutions, including Resolution 0166, calling on state legislator to pass and governor to sign a temporary tax holiday bill, suspending sales tax on small businesses. Additionally, Initiative 0342 to create an Office of Interagency Tourism Affairs, as I mentioned earlier. We've also been supporting and encouraging efforts from the start to fund campaigns by the city to eat and shop at our local businesses. Additionally, throughout our district, we've brought broadband, affordable broadband to the Stanley Isaac Center, and I'm looking to expand that as well to the Lexington houses in our district. So that's what we've been up to, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Harry, for being with us. Let's see, do we have any questions from our board members? I'm not seeing any. Thank you so much. And tell the council member we look forward to seeing her out there during the summer events.
Of course. Take care.
All right, you too. Next is Damaris Vasquez. You have 3 minutes.
Good. Hello?
Yep.
Hi, good evening, members. I'm Damaris Vasquez. I'm the community liaison to Senator Cordell Clear. Today, my report is fairly short. Senator Clear has been, she had 3 bills on today that were on the floor, I believe 2 of which passed. I'll be putting that in the chat. Aside from that, our office, I just wanted to share that our office is doing a program. Basically, we have, we've been focusing on housing, especially with HCFCs. We held a HCFC roundtable where we discussed some information on concerns that some shareholders have been having with other agencies like legal aid. And we're trying to basically address certain issues around them organizing and helping them with that. So I just wanted to make sure I make note of that, because if there's any members in CB11 or any constituents that come that have issues, please send them over to our office. We'll be more than happy to help them with that. Aside from that, Senator Clear is working hard. There's a few more days left in session. And that's basically it. If there's any questions, I put at the beginning of the meeting my information in the chat. I'll put it in again, and just have a happy and safe Memorial Day weekend.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for being in the space with us. Judith, you have your hand raised. Judith, you're muted.
Sorry.
All right,
It's the
your
same
question.
question I had. It's the same question I had for Eddie Gibbs' office. What is the senator doing about the tax abatements for many hundreds of us within this neighborhood, let alone the state and the city, on the 421As, which we know is expiring? There are so many people that have aged in place. Is there any news on that? Because this is actually June is the complete end of the 421A, if it's not ended already. Do we have any information on that yet?
Okay, Damaris.
Yeah, Ms. Fabral, I think Senator Clear, I don't want to misspeak or speak on her behalf. What I do recommend, I am going to put my information on the chat. If you could please send me an email, and I could have probably someone from our office contact you and give you their perspective. But unfortunately, I do not have information on that, so I don't want to misspeak.
May I weigh in on that, please?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Nice to have you here. Can
Thank
just
you.
would you like to give a presentation in just a moment?
Well, yeah, but I wanted to really address the issue about the 421A. It's
Okay,
still,
please go ahead.
it's still up for discussion. As you know, it expires in June. Most of the unions are advocating strongly for the passage of it. We know that there needs to be changes. We know that it's not perfect, but we also know that without it, there will be less and less affordable housing, dwindling down to almost nothing. And so there are many of us that are fighting for it, even if it's extended for just a year, to give us the opportunity to look at it and make necessary changes that would make it better and make it more available to those developers that are creating truly affordable housing. So I just wanted to expound a little on that. It hasn't passed yet, but it's still an argument. I'll put it that way.
Thank you, Assemblymember Inez Dickens, for weighing in on that. Thank you, Judith, for the question. We'll be coming to you in just a moment if you stand by with us.
Thank you, Inez. And wait.
Of course, Judy, and I'll keep the board apprised.
And I just thank you, Inez. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, and I'll keep the board apprised as it comes up for a vote.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, Xavier. Thank you, Inez. But our other concern is those who have aged in place, because you have a
Yes,
lot
I
of
know.
seniors
I know
now.
that.
Yeah.
I agree, and I understand that.
So Assemblymember and Judith, just so everyone's in the know, and I would love to have you come to our housing committee has been instructed, and our land use committee have been instructed to break apart the preservation aspect and then the development, affordable housing development aspect of 421A, so we can.
421A, yes.
So
yes.
we are breaking those two issues for preservation, and so that's what's happening this month of June. So thank you very much.
And I just wanted to add that the governor has proposed an alternative to 421A, which as of now has not been accepted either. The unions are willing to go with either one, even if it's for a year. in order for us to map out and strategize what has to be done. But neither has passed as of yet.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Assembly Member. Thank you, Judith. I'm going to move along and then I'll circle back to you for you to
Thank
present.
you so much, Inez.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
So hang
Okay.
tight with
All right,
us and I'll
Judith.
come back to you, Assembly Member. Next up, we who do we have next, Angel?
Had Maggie McDermott from the Councilmember Ayala's office and followed by Nina Norwood with Congressmember Espaillat's office.
Okay, and then we don't have any other representatives, and then Assemblymember Dickens can give a report, correct? Is that should cover us?
Well, we have Stacy from Inez's
Oh.
office.
Okay, so, well, if the Assembly Member would like to present, or Stacy, either one for the three. So there we go. So Maggie.
Having some
Okay.
connection
Assembly
issues.
Member,
Okay.
Okay, is Maggie having some connection issues?
No, I don't. My connection
Okay.
is fine. I think
Okay,
that was
Maggie.
Assemblymember Inez Dickens.
Okay, so Maggie, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. My name is Maggie McDermott. I'm here to present on behalf of New York City Council Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala. I want to mention first a legislative update. 0093 was introduced. Working with advocates, the proposed legislation would establish a system of commercial rent, registration, and regulation applicable to retail stores of 10,000 square feet or less. Let me remove my headset. Do you hear me better now?
Yes, you're fine. Carry on.
Oh, no, now it's worse. Sorry. Hold on a minute. Pardon me, that right? Pardon me, okay. So legislation 0093 was introduced, working with advocates. The proposed legislation would establish a system of commercial rent, registration, and regulation applicable to retail stores of 10,000 square feet or less, manufacturing establishments of 25,000 square feet or less, and professional services or other offices of 10,000 square feet or less. The mayor would appoint a 9-member commercial rent guidelines board responsible for annually establishing guidelines and the rate of rent adjustments for covered commercial spaces. It's now budget season. City council members and the deputy speaker are diligently analyzing the mayor's proposed executive budget and facilitating additional rounds of targeted hearings to ensure the budget is reflective of the community priorities throughout the 51 council districts. The collaborative efforts of this council and administration, an increase in funding, which will provide quality services and resources to many New Yorkers in need. The city council's budget will be passed by June 30th. Deputy Speaker Ayala, the chair of the General Welfare Committee, held an oversight public hearing focused on homelessness in New York City. The committee discussed requiring the Mayor's Office of Operations to report on exits from city administered facilities and the financings, starts and completions of permanent housing for those exiting city administered facilities. And there was a wonderful turnout. The hearing was about 6 hours long, so it was a quite lengthy one. Women's Health Protection Act, Deputy Speaker Ayala is fighting alongside her fellow members of the Women's Caucus and fellow legislators to protect women's rights to safe abortion and reproductive health access. We must do all we can to protect a woman's right to decide what is best for herself. In reference to East Harlem happenings, Deputy Speaker Ayala is hosting many events for all age groups, especially young individuals. But first and foremost, she's hosting the Senior Health Festival in collaboration with the Department for Aging and Metropolitan Hospital. that will be held at Jefferson Park on June 8th. She has the following movie night events: Jefferson Park and Encanto is showing on May 28th. Wagner Houses, Spider-Man is showing on June 4th. White Park, Jungle Cruise is showing on June 16th. The movie night events generally start at about 8 o'clock when during the darkness, nighttime hours, okay?
Thank you,
in
Maggie. Would you, sorry to interrupt, Maggie, would you mind sending those events? Preferably, we'd like to get the event emailed to us rather than stated. So thank you.
They were sent to the community
Okay,
board.
wonderful. All right. So
But I
carry
also
on.
I wanted to mention the Stop the Violence event on May 28th, the skate event on June 12th, and the annual Stop the Violence March on June 18th.
Wonderful.
But all of those flyers have been sent already to Community Board 11, but I can resend them tomorrow as well.
That's good. We'll double check with Angel. Thank you. Do we have any,
Thank
we have
you.
a hand raised, Stephanie Arroyo?
Hi, yeah, I just wanted, I didn't get, what was that bill? What was the bill number that, in regards to the commercial rental properties?
Sure, that was introduced, yes, 0093.
Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. I don't always
Thank you,
appreciate having
everybody.
you here, Maggie, and appreciate the Deputy Speaker. So wonderful. Let's move along to Nina Norwood from Congressman Espaillat's office.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much to District Manager Angel Miscane. I apologize, I'm in transit right now. I had reached out to Mr. Miscane earlier, so I'm kind of moving around, so I apologize that I'm not on camera currently. I just have two announcements and one mention from the Congressman's office. So first, I definitely would like to start off with mentioning tomorrow, the Congressman will be having an event. This event is in recognition of Memorial Day. This is for our veteran and military community. So it's going to be a mental health roundtable. And the purpose of this mental health roundtable is to gather together all the resources in the community and within the district that deal specifically with veteran and military services. So we have sent out invites. We're going to have a fantastic roundtable of special guests who are going to speak on this. The Congressman is very passionate about this. He feels this is a very underserved topic. I believe there is also talk of a hospital, VA hospital possibly closing. So we're really trying to get these resources together, get all of these factions to sit down at the table and discuss what resources they have in terms of representing our veteran and our military constituent community. So this is going to be tomorrow, Wednesday, March 25th, is going to be from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. This event most likely will be streamed live. We are still working on that part. But we are doing is we're reaching out to everyone and anyone within the Community Board 11 that knows of someone who deals specifically with veteran and military services that would like to extend their resources and their support. Please reach out to our Wounded Warrior Fellow, Mr. Mark Carlo. That's MARCCARLO. At our office number, I'm going to put his information down inside the chat. We are definitely welcoming any and all resources that we have in that area. Also, really quickly, I would like to mention the upcoming events for Congressman Espaillat's Coffee with the Congressman. We kicked it off this past Saturday at Cafe Bunny in the Bronx. So the Congressman is going to be having it at various locations throughout the district. So that flyer and the flyer for our mental health roundtable with our Wounded Warrior Fellow, Mr. Mark Carlo, is available on the Congressman's website. I do apologize, I do not have it to drop it directly into the chat. As I said, I am in transit, but I definitely would like to mention Miss Marlene. I believe Miss Marlene Pierre was able to connect with Mr. Carlo to be able to gather those resources for the board. So I'm very happy to hear that. So I just have one more thing I would like to say. I would like to give a special thank you to the DA's office because we are in collaboration with their June 25th gun buyback program. So if anyone has any questions for me, that will be the conclusion of my report. Thank you very much for your time and thank you very much, Community Board.
Thank you, Nina, for being with us despite being in transit. Appreciate you. We have one question from Marissa Mack. Marissa?
Hi, Nina. How are you? Thank you so much for presenting. I just have a quick question for you. And similar, I'm not sure if you were on earlier, but similar to the question that I had for Assemblymember Gibbs in regards to some of the bills. I believe there are 2 bills out right now. I only have one. And I see that Inez is on here as well as Stacy. But bills that have been presented in regards to limiting the number of social service facilities that are in one particular area of the city, and just wanted to know where SBIOP stands on that, and his stance has been in terms of either making recommendations to modify these bills and or present his own bill.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that question. So I definitely would love it. I put my information down in the chat. So please reach out to me via email. Let me know specifically which bills that you're speaking on. And either myself or our district director, Shauna Marks, will reply back to you, and we will at that time supply you with any and all information that you need.
Thank you.
Thank you very much
Nina.
for your question. Thank you, board.
Wonderful. Thank you. Next up, we have Assemblymember Inez Dickens.
Thank you so
sorry.
much.
Yeah, go ahead. The floor is yours. You got 3 minutes.
Well, thank you. I'm going to ask Stacy to begin. I want to address about that bill. That's I'm the prime sponsor of a bill in Albany. It will not stop close down any of those like Mount Sinai that's in by Lexington Avenue and by 124th Street. It won't close them down, but it stops any more of such programs from being brought into our communities. It's unfair. We have become inundated. Other communities have refused to have these programs, and yet they consistently, Oasis consistently approves them in our communities, Black and Brown communities. So I've got legislation in. I'm trying to get it to the floor before we shut down for the summer. I'm working hard to push it, and I've got a lot of support from my colleagues on it. So I just wanted to let you know where it's at this point. Stacy?
Yes, I'm here. Can everybody hear me? Because I know I had some connection issues in.
Yes, we can hear you, Stacy. Thank you so much for being in the space with us.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me this evening. And so, yep, so the Assemblywoman said it best. We've been working extremely hard to get this bill passed. And I know I've been meeting with a couple of community advocates for this bill to get passed weekly, literally having our meetings, just trying to see how we can come to a resolution in terms of what the sites, the different treatment centers can do to increase just their activities on site. And so that's some of the things that we're working with, as well as we've been seeing a great amount of security and police officers around 125th Street. So I think there's been some improvement there, but we're still continuing to work to get some answers and to see what we can do to limit some of the programs, as well as just some of the traffic on 125th Street because of the program. So everything is still a work in progress right now, but I should have some progress to report moving forward at the next meeting.
Okay.
All right, well, then I'll continue. Are you finished, Stacy? I wanted to, since you were here, I wanted to give you the respect, if it's all right with the board, to give you a report.
Of course.
Are you finished?
Yep, I'm finished.
All right. Well, if it's all right, I'll be able to tell a few things that's going on. Stacy, you have made a plan for several forums. You didn't tell about that.
Right. So, well, we had, and I'm glad you wanted to remind me that the plan to have a town hall meeting, was scheduled for June. We had postponed it until the fall, but and actually I spoke about it at the last meeting, Assemblywoman, about the town hall workshops. But I'm just here to say that they have been postponed until the fall, so we can fully have a well-attended workshop moving forward, and I'll just keep you abreast of the dates. But the workshop topics remain the same. Will be treatment, not jail, mental health. We also have the violence among youth, and so we continue to build our platform for those workshops, and we'll keep you posted on the new dates.
And Chair, unfortunately, there's been another shooting in a school.
Yeah.
Mass shooting, and the governor has made a statement, as has Speaker Carl Hastie, and many of my colleagues, on the shooting that has occurred just today at the Robb School, where 10 children and a teacher were killed. So I just, I hope that we will, keep fighting, because this is increasing. This hate and this criminality and this shooting, these mass shootings with rifles and with assault rifles and guns has got to stop. We're being hit. We don't even feel safe to ride the subway or the bus, or in many communities to even be out at night. There's shootings almost every weekend, every other day. You hear gunshots, and you wonder what the heck just happened. There's another child been killed, like the 11-year-old last week in the Bronx, where they were riding by on a scooter and shooting at I don't know, whoever they were shooting at, and they shot this child and killed this 11-year-old child. So the public safety is a dire issue that we've got to address in this society, if indeed we're going to be able to continue to live the way we're supposed to live, a viable life in a city as large as New York City.
I think you'll find, sorry to interrupt, Assembly Member, you're going to find some very active partnership at this board and finding successful pathways, and we definitely look forward to continuing that. It's deeply upsetting as having children at that age. So I do have one question from one of our board members, and I'm going to move the agenda along. I appreciate you being here. You were here last month. Appreciate it, Senator Cordell Claire. Eugene, you had your hand raised.
Yeah. Good evening, Honorable Inez Dickinson. I'd just like to ask, I'd like to urge you to support the bill that designates East Harlem as a cultural district. I want to know how you feel about that.
Well, I know that the Assembly Member Gibbs has put that bill in, and I've been getting a lot of complaints from West Harlem about the fact that they felt that it should be, Harlem, all of Harlem, East Harlem, West Harlem, Central Harlem, and not just East Harlem. I did not object to it. I have not objected to it. However, I did get a lot of calls. My office received a lot of calls about it. I don't know whether it'll bring additional resources actually to the community. If it does, certainly it's necessary and should be done. I have not been able to discuss with the Assembly Member as to what additional resources he expects that he will be able to get in doing so. But I'd like to talk to him about it because if I have to push back on another community, I need to have the knowledge and the information to do so intelligently.
Thank you.
We would have no objection to extending it to West Harlem or Central Harlem.
So what I'm recommending, thank you very much for registering that, Assemblywoman. I think it's something our Economic Development and Culture Committee should undertake and assess.
Oh, that's great. I think that's, well, thank you.
So we'll take everything under consideration. We are now running a little bit over. I'd like to keep the agenda moving along. We welcome you. Hopefully you and I can have a sit down at some point once you're out of session. I'm going to move things along. Was that our last elected official or their representative, Angel?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm just going to circle back because I typically don't check the chat, but I think we had one pre-registered public speaker who did not get the link. I'm going to open it back up for this one individual, Deborah Robles. Deborah, you have 3 minutes. If you are muted. I do not see her anymore. Do you, Angel?
I do not. Looks like she dropped off.
Okay. All right. Well, remind me if she comes back. We'll allow that one. So we're going to move the agenda along. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Just want to be respectful of our time in conducting the good business. As a reminder, everyone, most of our business is done in committee. It's assessed, weighed out, discussed robustly. Members of the public, we implore you to go there as well, because when the meetings are most efficient, we can actually have an intake of public input more readily, and that allows us to conduct an efficient meeting when the full body is convened here. We're going to move on. The Borough President's report will be delayed. Borough President Mark Levine is running late, and he will be along sometime around 8:30. So we're going to table that. Right now, we have a public hearing regarding proposed resolution to adopt open meeting amended procedures provided by New York State Open Meetings Law, Chapter 56 of the laws of 2022. So a brief summary. This was robustly discussed at Borough Board. We've been relying on city law to advise us. We were very passionate in our discussion with the issue because the law was passed as kind of a temporary agreement, if you will, when dealing with bodies such as ours, or even villages in upstate New York, who must abide by OML, open meetings law, meaning that they have to be accessible to the public, they have to be seen, you have to be able to engage the public and go back and forth. Obviously, during the emergency order, back when Governor Cuomo was in charge, they passed the EO that allowed us to meet virtually. And that is affording us to do this now. Now, June 9th, the amended law goes into effect. We had to adopt measures to conduct our meetings in a hybrid fashion. And we were advised by city law, according to their interpretation, that barring an extension of the EO at either the state or city level, meaning an extension, the city's been moving the goalpost every 30 days or every month. And we are extended with the state EO to June 14th, if memory serves me. And that allows us, once we have adopted a resolution that has been through a public hearing, which is what we're about to conduct, that will allow us to meet virtually through the extension of the EO or hybrid. And now the hybrid section, and this is the kicker, is that we would have to have a physical quorum in a location where full body, 50 members, we'd have to have 26 people present. Then those with extraordinary circumstances, which would have to be disclosed and recorded in the minutes, such as childcare, pre-existing condition, things of that nature, would be recorded as that's why they're absent, because of that extraordinary, in quotes, condition. So we have adopted, which was sent around and posted publicly, a resolution. This is the public hearing that would say we will be willing to conduct ourselves because the EO is causing a conflict and not allowing us to conduct our business appropriately. Also, furthering that is that if we can't find a space to host us, that would be another reason. So this is what this hearing is about. So this is for members of the public to weigh in on this. Otherwise, if we don't have the public hearing and then pass later on through our executive committee section of the agenda, we would have to convene in person after June 9th. So June 10th would be everyone in person, no virtual. So again, that's a little bit of the sidebar with that particular issue. And then for the members of the public, if we do conduct a hybrid meeting, we have to be able to set up cameras and have people be able to log in. So that it did not afford us what we would appreciate, which is being able to conduct a virtual meeting right here where we feel secure, where we have an uptick in COVID cases. We have people who may have pre-existing conditions or comorbidities. Again, this was something that was passionately discussed at Borough Board. Again, this is what's before us now. So I hope that explains everything, but do we have any publicly registered speakers for this matter? Angel?
We do not.
Okay. We'll hold it open for another 30 to 60 seconds, just in case. And again, just to give Jessica Morris.
Just a protocol point of question. In a public hearing instance like this, members of the board become members of the public to speak on the matter, or how does that work?
So Angel, correct me if I'm wrong, but members of the board will be able to opine on the issue when it is presented in the regular business session, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Jessica, so you will be able to opine on it during executive committee when it's brought before our business. This is for members of the public who will not be participating during the business session.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Okay, I'm going to close out the public hearing since there were no people registered to speak on the matter. Okay. And we're going to move along to our next, okay, so our next bit is adoption of the board minutes. It's now 7:56 p.m. Okay. All right. The minutes from the last full board meeting were distributed to board members ahead of time by the board office. If there's no objection, we will adopt the minutes from that meeting. Board members, if you object to adopting the minutes, you may raise your hand through Zoom. Seeing no objections, the minutes from last full board meeting are adopted. They will soon be available on the CB11 website. Okay. All right, so next is the chair's report. It was sent today. Apologies for being a touch late. I was feeling unwell yesterday. It's for a lot of information in it. A couple of the highlights is that, again, continually meeting with the 23rd and 25th precinct community council meeting, getting their stats. They're reporting regularly at public safety and transportation. A lot of the members of the public are expressing their dismay with the repeat criminal activity. We also had, I did not get to include, we had a Narcan presentation where we're being able to apply the Narcan, which helps you if you are having an OD event. It actually neutralizes the chemical impact of heroin. We're hoping to bring that individual in from Mount Sinai to come and present. Let's see, I've been taking tours with Dr. Christy De La Cruz. This will be crucial as we go into our budget request season. And there are a lot of issues that they were raised from their custodians, their teachers, report backs from the parents with the conditions in the surrounding areas, including actually abutting the school grounds or on the school grounds. We've already addressed the open meetings law issue. Going forward, and since the beginning of taking on the role of chair, we're having regular dialogue with our chairs of CB9, 10, and 12. We are working on a modeling to extend into the Bronx and meet with our counterparts and work on programs and find common goals that we can unite on. There'll be more to report back over the summer. I want to thank former chair, Nissel Rama, serving as a representative on the Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone, UMEZ. Each community board, and I think it's 9, 10, 11, and 12 are afforded a seat on the board of directors. I've had my first meeting, a lot of powerful stuff happening in the community, definitely worth taking a look at their programming. But Victoria Tower, the National Urban League headquarters, and the Marriott Hotel Renaissance or Uptown, currently several projects that are offering some benefits to our collective districts. And a highlight there is that 8 microloans have been assigned within the beginning of the year of our catchment area, with a simple majority of them being allocated within East Harlem. So that's a plus. A lot of those microloans allow our businesses to take that next leap. Again, attended a Marx Brothers Playground Coalition meeting to discuss the JOP located by 1st and 2nd Avenues, East 96 and 97th Street, as it pertains to Avalon Bay and the New York City Educational Construction Fund. Let's see. So we've had ongoing monthly meetings with Friends of La Marqueta, also had a East Harlem Community Peace Advisory meeting with the area of Palladino Drive and criminal activity that's happening over there. They're really trying to push for a greater frequency of officers, and also trying to put in some speed humps because that area of Palladino is used as an egress and ingress for activity with the crews. So yes, we have open streets coming out pretty soon. So look forward to seeing you guys out there at 101st and Lexington Avenue, and hopefully we'll bring back the one on 119th and Pleasant. Stay tuned for that. We're going to have a cleanup community street cleaning happening this Memorial Day weekend. That's about it. Look forward to seeing you out there. Jessica, you had a question.
I do, Xavier. Yes, thank you for your report. My rhetorical question is, who manages your calendar? Gosh, that's not my real question. My real question is, it's a point of process, and I think it comes up and would be worth clarifying. There are so many groups that you are responsible for touching base with and working with. Friends of La Marqueta, the coalition around the Marx Brothers Playground, various task forces that come and go and ebb and flow. I think one thing that's come up in the past, and I'm not sure there's ever been any resolution, there's really no public documentation of the constitution of those organized bodies. And they are so vital to maintaining boots on the ground for advocacy work around various issues. I know UMES is a lot more formal than some of the others, but I would ask how we can make that information more publicly available or formalized in some kind of way to understand kind of what's at stake and kind of where that representation comes from and how it all fits together. So I don't expect an answer, but it is a kind of question of how do we know who are behind these acronyms, these points of representation throughout our district that are not formal bodies like our community board.
Thank you for the question, Jessica, and I'll gladly address this when I can have a more comprehensive answer to it, because the chair and in absence of the chair, the vice chair will stand in place on many of these organizations. And I understand your more holistic question to it, and I think it's a good question, and how to memorialize things going forward from a structural point of view. And we'll look forward to having that conversation over at executive committee and then bringing back. But typically the chair will sit on many of these committees and task force with, sometimes they're active for a period of time and then they go into a hibernation status, but more than pleased to bring a more detailed response. So thank you.
Where is the commitment for follow-up on that? You said at executive
committee.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. All right. Thank you. Let's move along. Here we go. Okay. Next is our district manager, Angel Muscane, who will now give a report.
Evening, everyone. Thank you, Xavier. I shared my report with the members, and it's mostly for informational purposes, nothing too exciting to report. I did just want to highlight one thing. It was mentioned earlier, and I think it bears repeating as many thousands of times as it's going to take. So the district attorney's office and a number of local electeds and community organizations throughout the length and breadth of East Harlem are collaborating on a gun buyback on June 25th from 10 to 4 at Soul Saving Station Church, which is located at 302 West 124th Street. Around this time of year, we hear from our local precincts of their anticipation for gun violence upticking because it's getting warmer. I've been working here 12 years. I've heard that report for 12 years. It turns my stomach, it sickens me, it upsets me every year. And it's just shootings here, shootings there, shooting in poor neighborhoods, shooting in rich neighborhoods, white neighborhoods, black neighborhoods, all over the damn place. This is a district manager's report for a community board, but It's an absolute disgrace that this is the kind of country that we're living in, that we are going to value anything above the sanctity of life and peace of mind, day after day, month after month. And I think it has to be said 800,000 times until it gets through to the ear of whoever it is that has to hear it. Because for God's sakes, like when does it end? A bunch of kids again. And, you know, you get the front page of the New York Times when it's a mass shooting, but East Harlem gets a mass shooting every couple of weeks. Every couple of weeks. There's just, you know, you start keeping a tally. It would, you know, you'd run. It's really heartbreaking. So the teeny weeny bit that I can do right now is encourage you to encourage whoever you know that may want to take advantage of it to go to this gun buyback and turn in their
Oh
damn
my
gun.
fucking God.
Excuse me? Somebody.
Yeah, would you please mute? Thank you.
Around a Virgo person. And try to, you know, spread the word as wide as you can and as constantly as you can about this event and any other similar types of event. There's all kinds of work on the, you know, anti-violence front happening all of the time. Every single time you get an opportunity to elevate that, please do. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Angel. I couldn't agree more. Are there any questions? Okay, seeing that there are none, we'll now move on to our office's report. Our treasurer is excused now. Giselle, do you have a report update from our executive committee with the process?
Yes, hello everyone. Myself, Jessica, and Jose are meeting sometime next week. We're still deciding on a date in order to pretty much start the conversation on the removal of the one board member we discussed. Other than that, there is no report.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on, we have our committee reports and action items. It's now 8:06. First up will be housing. John Green.
Thank you, Xavier. Good evening, everyone. John Green, I'm housing chair. I would like to welcome the new members of the community board. Hope this is a great experience for you. Now, unfortunately, with my apologies, I haven't completed the minutes for the month yet. But when they are received, they are for informational purposes only. There was really nothing dramatic or adverse that happened at the meeting. It was just a regular committee meeting of good work is done by members of the committee, which I have to commend them all at this point. And thank you, Xavier.
Thank you very much, John. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing the next agenda for June. All right, next we have should be our licenses and permits. Our chair, Adem Briha.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'll try to keep this as quick as possible because we had a lot of items. So first up, we'll do the liquor licenses. So number one was to approve the application for Teddy's Bar to alter a full liquor license for a restaurant located at 2171 2nd Avenue. Number two was to approve the application of DC Coffee Inc. doing business as Daniel and Company Coffee Shop for a class change to a full liquor license for a restaurant located at 2315 2nd Avenue. Number three was to approve the application of Chipotle Mexican Grill for a new wine, beer, and cider license for a restaurant located at 165-167 East 116th Street. Number four was to approve the application of Quesadillas Matty Corp. for a new full liquor license for a restaurant located at 2141 2nd Avenue. Number five was to approve the application of Lee Heritage LLC doing business as Comedy in Harlem for a new application for a full liquor license for a restaurant located at 508 East 117th Street on the second floor. Number 6 was to approve the application of Guajilo Restaurant Corp. To renew a full liquor license for a restaurant located at 2277 First Avenue. Number 7 was to deny the application of Kelly Corp. To renew a full liquor license for a restaurant located at 209 East 117th Street. Number 8 was to approve the application of Casa Azul Inc. It's renewal for a full liquor license for a restaurant located at 343 Pleasant Avenue. Number 9 was to deny the application of El Nuevo Sandy Restaurant to renew a full liquor license for a restaurant located at 2261 Second Avenue. And number 10 was to approve the application of Hudson Yards Catering LLC, doing business as Public Fare, to renew a wine, beer, and cider license for a restaurant located at 63 Central Park West.
Okay, Adem, carry on with the permits, please.
Okay. All right, so now we'll move to the permits. So that's number 11 would be our first permit. It's Super Sabato Street Event, May 21st, 2022, location 104th between 5th and Madison. It's a full street closure. The committee recommended that application be approved. Number 12 was Da Triangle Project Street Event, May 28th, 2022, location East 128th Street between Lexington and 3rd. It was a sidewalk and curb lane. Please go back. Slide. Sidewalk and curb lane closure. The committee recommended that application be denied. Number 13, 100 Street Open Street Block Party, June 11th. It's on East 100th Street between Lexington and 3rd Avenue. Full street closure. Committee recommended that application be approved. Number 14, 100 Street July Convening Block Party, July 16th, location East 100th Street between Lexington and 3rd Avenue. Full street closure. Committee recommended that application be approved. Number 15, 100th Street September Convening Block Party, September 10th, location East 100th Street between Lexington and 3rd Avenue. Full street closure. Committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 16, HHFM Metropolitan Market, Farmers Market, June 17th, location 2nd Avenue between 97th and 98th Street. It's a sidewalk and curb lane closure. Committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 17, HHFM East Harlem Market, Farmers Market, July 7th. It's East 104th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. Full sidewalk closure. The committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 18, Museum Mile Festival Street Event, June 14th. It's at 3 locations. First is 5th Avenue between 79th and 109th Street. Number 2 is 5th Avenue between 102 and 110th. Number 3 is 5th Avenue between 79th and East 96th. Full street closure. Committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 19, Juneteenth Block Party, June 19th, East 111th Street between 3rd and Lexington Avenue. Full street closure. Committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 20, Mount Sinai Green Market Wednesday, Farmers Market, June 15th. Location Madison Avenue between 98th and 99th Street. Sidewalk and curb lane closure. Committee recommended that that application be approved. 21, PS 57 Farm Stand Farmers Market, July 6th, East 106th Street between Lexington and 3rd Avenue. It's a partial sidewalk closure. Committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 22, Family Fun Day Block Party, July 3rd. Location East 120th between 5th and Madison. It's a sidewalk and street closure. Committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 23, 111th Street Old Timers Day Street Festival, July 10th, East 111th Street between 5th and Madison Avenue. Full street closure. Committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 24, Jungle Gym 2022 Street Event, July 22nd. Locations East 116th Street between Lexington and 3rd Avenue. Full street closure. Committee recommended that that application be approved. 25, Jungle Gym 2022 on August 12th, East 106th Street between Lexington and 3rd Avenue. It's a full street closure. Committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 26, Community Day religious event, July 23rd, location East 100th Street between Lexington and Park Avenue. Full street closure. The committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 27, back to school education block party, location East 100th Street between Lexington and Park Avenue. Committee recommended that that application be approved. It's a full street closure. Number 28, barbecue block party, July 23rd, location East 129th between 5th and Madison. It's a full street closure. Committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 29, James Weldon Johnson Houses Love and Unity Day block party, July 30th, location East 112th Street between Lexington and 3rd Avenue. Full street closure. Committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 30, 11th Annual Welcome Home Barbecue Block Party, July 30th, East 119th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. Full street closure. The committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 31, 1405/107 Family Reunion Block Party, July 30th, East 105th Street between Park and Lexington Avenue. Full street closure. Committee recommended that application be approved. Number 32, Community Love Street Event, August 27th, East 124th Street between Madison and Park Avenue. Full street closure. The committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 33, El Barrio Old Timers Block Party, September 3rd, location East 105th between Madison and 5th Avenue. Full street closure. Committee recommended that that application be approved. Number 30, Back to Beautiful Street Event, September 3rd, location East 128th between Lexington and Park Avenue. Full street closure. The committee recommended that that application be approved. And finally, number 35, Uptown Oktoberfest Single Block Festival, October 8th, 2022. Location is East 120th between 5th and Madison Avenue. It's a full street closure. Committee recommended that that application be denied.
Thank you very much, Adam.
welcome.
We can go back to number 1, please. I wanted to ask for clarification before opening the floor to questions. Were there any contentious applications before your committee?
Contentious, I mean, Chipotle Mexican Grill, there was some people from the public that spoke about it. They were, I don't really want to speak for anybody if they're here, but they were concerned about a big chain coming to 116th Street, where there are a lot of smaller owned, small business owned Mexican restaurants. And so people felt that at the very least that maybe more questions needed to be asked. So I believe there was originally a motion to deny and kind of have them go to EcoDev and then come back next month. That motion didn't pass, so we had to take another motion. There was then a motion to approve. That motion did pass, thus our position. I believe then even though it had been approved, I believe Chipotle did attend the Economic Development Committee anyway. But I mean, other than that, it was pretty straightforward. The denials, as far as I remember, if there were any for any of the other ones, were just due to a lack of documents or the applicants not showing up and having documents. But as far as I can recall, that's pretty much the only contentious one.
Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing that. And we have a question from Eugene. You're muted, Eugene.
I just want to let the board know that I announced to my public, all 5 of them, that I was on Community Board 11. And the next day, I got a whole bunch of complaints about Chipotle. So it's not just the lady on the board that's concerned about it. I'm hearing that from the community too.
Okay. Thank you, Eugene. Jessica?
Thank you, Xavier. A couple of points, just a question that I sit on the committee, but had connection challenges through the meeting. I want to just say I did hear, and this is a point of process, I'm not sure there's a good answer, but Adam, you may know, that there was some concern from the 23rd precinct about the full block closures on East 100 Street between 3rd and Lex due to traffic circulation issues in the area. As far as we're concerned, those issues are not first brought to the precinct, who ultimately issues the permit for street closure, correct? We give approval and then hope that it all goes well. And then my second question is with regard to number 24, Jungle Gym 2022 on July 22nd. The location is East 116th Street. Is that correct? I know Concrete Safaris often operates on East 115th Street. I just want to make sure that we're accurate in our records. And then I do have a comment on the Chipotle frame of reference, but we'll see that if we're getting into it or not.
Okay, Adem.
The first question, because I wasn't even sure it was a question at first. It's about the 23rd precinct. So that's news to me. I didn't hear anything about that being an issue with them. I mean, we're just advisory. We're recommending things. If they have an issue with that, I don't think that our recommendation goes above that. So I don't know. I mean, that's something to consider now, but nobody, as far as I remember, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, attended from the 23rd precinct or made us aware that they had that issue. Thank you for sharing that though. And yeah, again, if I believe they have part an issue. I mean, I think ultimately SAPO is giving out these permits or whatever. But I believe they have to, as far as I know, the NYPD, from what I recall, approves the sound permits and stuff like that. So I'm not 100% sure. I would feel like that's hard to say where they're giving their input, as far as I know. I don't know where the 23rd precinct is, if they're reaching out to SAPO and they're saying that we have this issue. I don't know if that's, the only way we would know that is if they had come to us. If Marlene's on, she could say if they reached out, but as far as I know, they didn't. And then to number 2, I'm just going off of what was here. I don't have the application in front of me. I don't remember. I can look and see if maybe that's just a typo here. Because yeah, it usually is not on 116th Street. So if you give me a few minutes, I can go to the Airtable on that one and get back to you.
Why don't you do that, Adem?
Okay.
Because I have another question coming up while you're doing that. And yes, the 23rd or 25th will weigh in, Jessica, especially when it comes to ingress and egress from various blocks. So they will have input in the process. So again, we're one of the several boxes that get checked on the way to getting a street closure. Next question to Claudia Perez. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to piggyback off of the street closure permits. I know for a fact that even if the street permit is approved and the local precincts deem that it's an issue or a problem, they will shut it down. So the street closure will not happen. That's happened in the past. And I do believe that's the procedure in which they still follow, due to the fact that, I am close to the 23rd precinct. So I do get information regularly from them. And that's what I do know.
Okay. Thank you, Claudia. Appreciate that input. Were you able to find it on the Airtable, Adem?
I'm still looking. Gotta give me just another minute.
Okay. Pilar, not Pilar, sorry. The text, the chat function. Marlene, did you want to speak on any of this?
No, you won't answer the questions.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So what I'm going to do while you look for that, Adem, since it seems like the most contentious out of all of these is number 3, the application for Chipotle Mexican Grill of Colorado LLC doing business as Chipotle Mexican Grill, number 4180. I'm going to break that one out. So for our new board members, what we have created as a custom and culture to expedite things in a virtual environment, because we're required to do a roll call vote as we can't assess who the yays and nays are. So when in order to be more efficient, rather than calling the roll on each and every single agenda item, what we have done is we'll call for a motion to adopt the committee's recommendations. So if the committee, and so in its entirety, when we bundle things together, just to make things more efficient. So what I'm proposing to this body is that I will be willing to hear a motion once we get clarification from Adem on that one on 116th. All of the committee's recommendations to either approve or deny the licenses and street permits as presented. Okay, and for those, I know you had some onboarding that were yesterday. Yes is an approval. No is obviously a no. An abstention, although counted as a no, an abstention does not necessarily mean a no. Abstention could be because you don't have enough information. You like all except for one part. You feel like it's not quite enough. There are various reasons to abstain. And for those that have gone through the training, present not voting is because you have a vested interest or stand to benefit from its passage. So that's kind of the quick brain dump. So Adem, I'm going to go back to you.
116, so it is correct.
Okay, it is correct. All right, very good. So again, I'm going to carve out number 3, and I'm willing to hear, since it seems like there are no other questions pertaining to these permits and applications, we're going to have 2 votes on this segment for licenses and permits. I'm willing to entertain a motion to adopt the committee's recommendations as read into the record by Adem Briha, with the exception of number 3. And I see Angela Donadell, your hands up, and then Eugene Rodriguez.
Right. So I motion to adopt the bundled amendments, accepting number 3 as written.
Okay, and Eugene, or a second?
I'll second.
Okay, please call the roll, Giselle.
Jose Altamirano,
Yes.
Leroy Andino, Stephanie Arroyo,
Yes.
April Autry,
Mr.
Adem,
Chairman. Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Eugene.
what are we voting on? Everything but?
Yes, we are voting on everything as made in the motion. So the motion, again, as was called for, that would be entertained, was a bundling of everything of the committee's recommendations, except for number 3.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Stephanie Arroyo,
Again? Yes. Everything but 3.
April
Yes.
Okay, April Autry, Adem Briha,
Yes.
Juhad Charity, Diane Collier,
Yes.
Devon Cronshaw,
Yes.
Kenneth Crouch,
Yes.
Brianna DaCosta,
Yes.
Carlos Diaz,
Yes.
Rosa Diaz,
Yes.
Angela Donadell,
Yes.
Jessica Elliott,
Yes.
Judith Fabaro,
Okay, one second, you're voting on this excluding number 3, the Chipotle?
Yes, correct. That will be brought up as a next business item. So it's the entire committee's recommendations
Oh, okay.
minus
okay.
number 3.
Okay, as
Yep.
long as it's, all right, as long as it's being brought up, that's all. Okay, then I'll
Thank
say yes.
Thank you.
Raja Flores, Josendi Garcia, Brandon Gillespie, David Giordano,
Yes.
John Green,
Aye.
Wanda Hopkins, James Horton,
Yes.
Alonzo Johnson,
Yes.
Jewel Jones,
Yes.
Marissa Mack,
Yes.
I'm a yes, Malik McCullough,
Yes.
Jennifer Meyer,
Yes.
You got me?
Jessica, yes, I did, thank you. Jessica
you know it.
Morris,
Yes.
Nilso Rama,
Yes.
Beverly Pavon,
Yes.
Arturo Perez,
Yes.
Claudia Perez,
Yes.
Roberto Perez, Savasia Robinson Teague. Natasha's excused. Eugene Rodriguez,
Yes.
Dawn Sanders, Xavier Santiago,
Yes.
Isaac Scott,
Yes.
Russell Schuler,
Yes.
Vincent Torres, Anne Marie Vasquez. Jason is excused. Hilda Vives Vasquez, Michelle Wiltshire Clement,
Yes.
Jordan Wright,
Yes.
Jason Wu. Okay, motion passes.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for your patience. Next, we will entertain number 3. There was an approval from the committee. And I would like to say, again, we've heard from our public, and I will leave it to this body to either present a motion to accept the committee's recommendation or to deny the committee's recommendation. However, Angel, would you please clarify for me with the 30-day application process?
So I clarify what part of that?
Yeah, so they would, the only way they would have to withdraw their 30-day notice, correct? In a situation such as this?
So yes, once the community board is notified by the applicant, there's a 30-day clock that is ticking until and unless the applicant chooses to withdraw that notification, that clock keeps ticking. So we have to get our comment in or we lose our opportunity to comment.
Thank you. Judith, you had a question, and then Marissa, and then Jessica. Judith?
Yes, it's on the Chipotle. It seems that there are so many people against it. For what reason, I really don't know, because there are other restaurants of the same Mexican restaurants there. All right, I'm gonna say something out of the box. Go to Little Italy. There's Italian restaurants, hundreds of them right next door to each other. Go to Little India in the 20s on Madison Avenue. Indian restaurants right next door to each other. What is the big deal about having Chipotle? I just don't understand it. Can someone explain that to me? Because there are other Mexican restaurants there. This really kind of bothers me a lot.
All right. Thank you, Judith, for your comment. Marissa, your question, then Jessica, and then Stephanie.
No, sorry, I didn't have a question. I just had a comment in the point of making and actually absolutely not piggybacking on what Jude stated, but I just wanted to note that hopefully they will show up, but Chipotle was invited to come to Echo Dev to speak next month about this item. So, I understand.
I don't know why.
No, please.
Sorry,
Back and forth.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no, absolutely. So just wanting to note that in addition to tonight and the opportunity for people to speak to them directly, and have a dialogue about the restaurant in general. Just wanted to make a note of that they did not come to Echo Dev, but they did accept an invitation for June to attend the meeting. So that's separate from the license, right? The liquor license, but just wanted to make that note.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marissa. Jessica Morris.
Thank you, Xavier. I just want to follow up on the question that I asked in the public session, suggesting that when the corporation, I think, Judith, to answer your question, that is the big difference. When the corporation comes to EcoDev, regardless of the outcome tonight, a proposal for some sort of small business incubator partnership could be a way to support the small businesses around this location that would amplify the authenticity of existing small businesses and perhaps provide a type of support that doesn't necessarily come through municipal agencies or other small business incubators here in the city. So that's the best I can think of as far as how to suggest a creative partnership with a corporation that, on the grounds of process and what they've presented, there's no reason to deny the application for a liquor license from the perspective of a fragile cultural heritage of a neighborhood with incredible development pressure. That's another set of grounds. So I don't think the conversation ends tonight, and I look forward to attending the EcoDev conversation in June. So I don't have a question.
Absolutely not, and I
Thank
don't
you.
see why it has to go to Echo.
Judith, thank you. Please, I need to carry on with the meeting. And I ask our members to not exchange in a back and forth. Please direct all matters to the chair. Stephanie Arroyo, and then Kenneth Crouch, Brandon Gillespie, and Brianna DaCosta will conclude with questions. Stephanie Arroyo, the floor.
Thank you. And Jessica, I appreciate you coming up with that idea out the box, because that does sound like a great idea. I mean, I do understand that this is a business that, you know, just like every other business here in East Harlem, just wants to come and make money. I think the problem is that, as we know, a lot of our small businesses are going through a rough time, and a lot of our small businesses didn't get the necessary resources that they needed to keep their places open. And now that we're going back, you know, little by little, and going back to our restaurants and bringing money back to our small businesses, Chipotle does come with big pockets, large pockets, and they're a corporation that can get through these things. So I think, you know, the idea from the community is, do we really want another big business, another big monopoly of a business to come and take over, when this community does have a lot of small Mexican restaurants that do provide maybe even better than Chipotle, in my opinion. But again, thank you, Jessica, for saying that, because I think that's a great idea. Maybe we can bring that up. And I also wanted to point out that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Adem had said that they did go to the EcoDev meeting, which was not the case. They're going next month, right? And
that
then
is the intent, yes.
Got you. And then the 30 days, are we already in the time clock of the 30 days, or do the 30 days start after this meeting?
Angel?
Yes, we're in the 30 days.
So we're already in the 30 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We get notified, and then we schedule them to the licenses committee. So yeah, we've been in it for a while.
Gotcha. Awesome. That's it. I'm gonna vote no. But thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much. So Kenneth, welcome. Then Brandon, Brianna, and then I see John. Okay, so Kenneth, go ahead. Your question.
Thank you, Xavier. Thank you all. Yeah, I do have a question. Forgive my ignorance as a new member. I don't know if this is possible. Is there any way to defer the decision today? Just given the fact, I'm also similarly wary of a corporation, or even, if there are promises later, those tend to be non-binding. I think that these sorts of developmental incursions can really change the character of a community. And so, I'm curious if there's any way to defer that at all. It is worrisome without a binding commitment to this community, without extensive funds or resources or anything more. And again, their non-attendance at EcoDev is concerning. So if anyone can answer that, speak to that. Deferring. Otherwise, I'm inclined to vote no.
So to answer your question is that the 30-day period, the clock starts, and we can't really put a pause on that clock. That's not within our remit. So we have that period of time. We have to that's our period to opine on the issue. So regrettably, we have to take it up, or they would have to withdraw and then resubmit. And there is apparently no intent to do so.
And Xavier, I'm sorry, there was one part of the question that you didn't answer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, would you?
No, I know, he asked another part of that, which was, why did they come to Echo Dev? It was just, I think it was just the timing situation. So it wasn't that they didn't want to, they did offer to come to our June meeting. So, yeah.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you both.
All right, thank you. Brandon, Brianna, John, then we're going to wrap this up because the borough president is inbound. And he has another meeting. I'm just getting pinged. That's what you're hearing in the background. So Brandon, go ahead, your question.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question. I'm new. Is this a particular issue with just Chipotle and their business practices, or is it, I know at least 2 or 3 Taco Bells in the area, one in the last year. Is it all, corporate businesses, or is it just Chipotle? Could anyone expound on that, or I guess we could table that for another time? I'm just trying to understand why Chipotle, and it's other than, yes, the not being a small business, et cetera. Is this position for all corporate restaurants, or just how this business has been in the community?
Yeah, so when the community registers an issue with concern, whether it's an existing business or one that is coming into the community, we listen to and are informed by the community's input. And in this particular instance, whether it was a corporation or a small business that perhaps is disturbing the neighborhood late at night, as Adem had discussed at the previous meeting that was taken up, we will address the concerns as they are presented. So again, it's not a small business versus corporate. It is, as the community weighs in, we respond to that. So I hope that explains a little bit more detail. And when we have our little walkthrough for onboarding at the Open Street program, I'll be more than pleased to explain some more of the real world impact of our work. So hopefully that answers your question, Brianna.
Yes, my argument for why I'm voting against Chipotle being here is, yes, I acknowledge the fact that there has been new Taco Bells put in place within Harlem within the past 2 to 3 years. But we have to ask ourselves, one, does enough corporate over trump our want to keep small businesses afloat within New York City? Because New York City is a city based off of immigrants. And if we erase our immigrant status by allowing these white catered companies to come here and brand themselves as, in this case, Chipotle, as a Mexican Spanish restaurant for tacos and burrito bowls, we are erasing a part of Harlem's culture, which is historically, as in the past 20 years, predominantly Spanish speaking. And I think this relates back to the problem and why New York City itself didn't want Walmarts within our borders, is because Chipotle, like Walmart, is a national company who has deep pockets behind them, so they can outprice local restaurants, making them go out of business. And we have to ask ourselves, how much do these restaurants actually do for our community? People who own restaurants in Harlem live in Harlem or have been there for 10 plus years. So we have to ask ourselves the effect of Chipotle, and historically, and the data shows that it has been negative on community and local businesses. So for all that reasons, I would have to vote a no.
Okay, thank you, Brianna. Again, John and Angela, and I know we have our borough president joining us, so I'd like to call a motion on this. John.
Thank you, Xavier. Actually, I don't have a question, I have a statement, and it's a byproduct of this issue. We're 50 individuals from different backgrounds, with different opinions, and most times we agree to disagree. Now, what I've read in the chat the last few minutes about people being denied their opinion while they're expressing theirs, it's disingenuous, it's hypocritical, and it's disrespectful, and it needs to stop. So let us vote on this, but let us respect each other on this issue. That's all I have.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Real quick as a note, Angel, I sent a little private message if we could promote Mark Levine to panelist, please, so he can present. Angela?
Hi, so I want to I sit on licenses and commit licenses and permits. And I want everybody to understand, and that's including the people in the audience, that we probably have no control over their coming to the area. What I find disingenuous is them picking a spot on what is considered Little Mexico to open a restaurant. So the only power that we have, and I understand what you stated, Jessica, but the only thing that we can change on them is to not allow them to serve the liquor. And I think that's fair. I said I think I said it in that meeting, they can undercut and underprice. People that have families may go there before going to a restaurant because they can feed more people with that food. So we have no power in stopping them because obviously that has been done. What we can do is not give them the liquor license. I voted to deny it and it didn't pass. So I just wanted to say that, and let's all have that clarity. Chipotle is coming if they've already paid for the space, unless something gargantuan happens. But we can deny the liquor license. Or can we? Since we already approved it, can we revert back and deny it? Because that I don't know.
No, so to clarify, it's not been approved because it hasn't been adopted by the full body. So
thank you.
So it has not. I'd like to really move this agenda along. I know we have our BP here. He is limited on time. So Eugene, you had a question. You're muted again.
I just want to know if the chairman would entertain a motion to deny this permit.
Okay, so I'm willing to entertain that it would be a denial of the committee's recommendation. So voting, they approved it, so you would have to raise a motion to deny the committee's recommendation.
So moved.
So I'm willing to entertain that. I just see one question from David and then Michelle. Prior to doing that, just out of courtesy, they popped up real quick. Your questions so we can move along.
Yes, very quickly, Xavier. So I think more of my concern is most Chipotles don't have a liquor license. So why are they coming into this community asking not only to be here, but also to have a liquor license? And maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I don't go there too often. Maybe I've been there twice, and that's because I was downtown Manhattan as opposed to up in East Harlem. But, you know, I would be concerned again is again more of the promotion of liquor in a place that's supposed to be a fast food where kids go to. So my concern, and as well as some of the new members have mentioned, will also be a no to vote.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Michelle, and then I'm going to go back to Eugene's originally raised motion. It was a courtesy to extend to those additional questions.
Xavier, I know, can I just, the Chipotles, no, about Chipotles, they do serve beer. On 86th Street, they have beer and cider licenses. This is not for liquor. This is for beer and cider. And they do have them in their stores.
Thank you for the point of clarification. Appreciate that. Michelle, your question, or were you?
I was going to make the clarification and also to second that denial.
Okay, so what was your clarification?
The clarification that there is their site in.
Sorry, you're breaking up, Michelle.
That there is cider and beer in other Chipotle establishments. And
okay,
then
okay, thank you. Sorry, it's just breaking up every other word. But thank you for clarification that it is only a beer and cider and wine. So with that, I'm going to revert back to Eugene. You wanted to make a motion to deny the committee's recommendation.
So moved.
Okay.
I think I got a second from Angela.
So Angela, I will allow you to offer a second, if that's what you would like.
Actually, that was Michelle that seconded.
Michelle, you would like to second?
Yes, I would like to second it.
Okay, so we have a motion to deny. So again, so to explain to our new members, when we have a denial, and you call the roll, you say you are supporting the motion to deny. okay, the committee's recommendation. So you would vote yes in the affirmative. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, you're supporting the original presenter's motion. So if you wanted to deny the application, you would have to vote yes. Okay? All right, good. Please call the roll.
Jose Altamirano,
Denying.
Leroy Andino, Stephanie Arroyo,
Yes to the denial.
April Autry, Adem Briha,
Abstain.
Juhaid Chaudhry, Diane Collier,
Abstain.
Devin Cronshaw,
Yes to the denial.
Kenneth Crouch,
Yes to denial.
Brianna Da Costa,
Yeah, yes to the denial.
Carlos Diaz,
Yes to the denial.
Rosa Diaz,
Abstain.
Angela Donadell,
Yes to the denial.
Jessica Elliott,
Yes.
Judith Ferraro,
No.
Roger Flores, Osendi Garcia, Brandon Gillespie,
Abstain.
David Giordano, John Green.
I'm
Abstain.
sorry, yes. My fingers are slow.
Okay.
Yes to the denial.
Wanda Hopkins, James Horton,
Yes to the denial.
Alonso Johnson,
No.
Jewel Jones,
Yes.
Marissa Mack.
Yes.
I am yes to the denial. Malik McCullough,
Yes.
Jennifer Meyer,
Yes.
Jessica Morris,
Abstention.
Nilso Rama,
Abstain.
Beverly Pavon,
Abstain.
Arturo Perez,
Yes.
Claudia Perez,
Yes to the denial.
Roberto Perez, Savasia Robinson Teague, Eugene Rodriguez,
Yes.
Dawn Sanders, Xavier Santiago,
Abstain.
Isaac Scott,
Abstain.
Russell Schuler,
Abstain.
Vincent Torres.
Uh,
I'm sorry,
sorry.
Anne Marie Vasquez, Jason Villanueva, Hilda Vives Vasquez, Michelle Wilcher Clement,
Yes to the denial.
Jordan Wright,
Abstain.
Jason Wu. Angel, I would refer to you to see if it passes.
The motion passes, yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone. We're going to move the agenda back to the Borough President's report, and then we will circle back because I think that was the last item on licenses and permits. It is now 8:52. Mark Levine, Borough President in the House.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chair, Chair Santiago. It's wonderful to see all of you. My heart is also extremely heavy with the news out of Texas. Just since community boards have been meeting tonight, the death toll has been increased. It's now a heartbreaking 18 children who've been murdered, one teacher.
What?
Yes, it's truly, truly devastating. I want to thank Angel, who I know in his opening report gave a really heartfelt, impassioned statement on this topic. Of course, it's coming just 2 days after we had a fatal shooting on the subway in Lower Manhattan, fellow New Yorker, Daniela Enriquez, who was murdered, and far too many cases here in CB11 as well. The mass shooting in Buffalo. We can no longer accept this as a society. This must be the moment where we finally tackle the epidemic of gun violence. We'll have much more to say on this in the future, but I have a heavy heart. I'm angry and I'm determined that we once and for all step up and act. On more positive note, I am thrilled to welcome so many new board members and reappointed board members. This was an incredibly competitive process. We had 900 applications. That's close to a record borough-wide for only 300 spots. So really, we were able to select just an incredible array of leaders, including some of you who are coming back to continue your service. Some of you are new. I do want to take a moment to thank really a wonderful array of board members who are completing their service that we're saying goodbye to, but we know they'll still be active in the community. I just want to thank for their years of service, Yolanda Brown, Eva Chan, Jada Heredia, Robin Krinsky, Patricia Martin, Elsie Encarnacion, Robert Harvey, Francis Mastrota, Miguel Pava, Shirley Pena, Nye Whitaker, Andrew Padilla, and Ivy Hume. And I want to welcome this great array of new board members. I got to hear Brianna speaking a few minutes ago. Wow, so great, Brianna, that you're already stepping up to make powerful statements here on the board. Welcome to Brianna DaCosta. Also, welcome to Claudia Perez, Anne Marie Vasquez, Jewel Jones, Devin Cronshaw, Wanda Hopkins, Rosa Diaz, Eugene Rodriguez, April Altry, Kenneth Crouch, Brandon Gillespie, Johaib Chowdhury. Thank you all for stepping to lead. So excited to work with the months ahead. I know that rapid changes to open. My office has been extremely engaged on this. Mr. Chair, I know you led a hearing on the topic earlier and you're moving forward on the process. The emergency order that we've been living under that's allowed for this full hybrid format ends on June 14th. And we have a new law coming in effect that is better than reverting to the pre-pandemic fully in-person rules, but it's a hybrid structure that does leave some challenges. And we've been working really hard to obtain and disseminate legal advice on how to navigate this. We're continuing to do that. We want to help guide you to figure out questions about how to govern excused absences in a setting where you need to have in-person quorum. These are big challenges that you have to work through. We also know that there are logistical burdens in running a good hybrid meeting, that it requires technology, specialized cameras and microphones and software and staffing. We want to help make sure that CB11 has those resources to do this right. We also know that venues present a challenge in the COVID era under these new rules. We're going to be your partner in navigating this, but I'm really grateful that CB11 has stood up and led on this front. Speaking of COVID, I often mention this topic to you. I wish I didn't have to anymore. And while we've made enormous progress in this pandemic, we are unfortunately facing another wave. CB11 has been one of the best boards in the city in focusing on the pandemic. I've been so grateful for how you've always stood up and really pushed forward good public health policy in the community. But we're seeing another wave now with increasing cases and hospitalizations rising. Probably many of you have people in your life, maybe some of you, I hope not, who have gotten sick just in the last week. And so we do still need people to get their booster shots. I just looked it up a few minutes ago. The booster rate in East Harlem is only about 35%. And that number has really stopped moving. It's really stopped moving citywide. So we need to get people to get their booster shots, to wear their masks in public indoor settings, to get tested regularly, to seek treatment. We have great new antiviral pills, but people have to ask their doctor for these treatments if they test positive. And you as leaders, consistent leaders in the community, I hope that you will continue to speak up because you have such credibility in the neighborhood. So because the hour is so late, I think I'm going to pause there. Mr. Chair, if it's appropriate and there's time, I'm happy to take a question or two. I also understand that it's really late and you have a big agenda. So I'm also very happy to turn it back to you to continue through your items tonight.
I appreciate you being considerate like that, but we've grown accustomed to your etiquette. But I will entertain a few questions. It'd be good from any of our board members if there are any. If not, I do have one, but I'll look for some raised hands. Please raise your hands if you have a question. Okay, Angel.
It's not a question, but I did want to thank the borough president and his team for their application process, and particularly the new onboarding that they've implemented. A number of us DMs have been knocking on that door for a long time, and to see that right out the box, you're putting in a thorough onboarding system with trainings right out of the box. It's very much appreciated, and I think that it will certainly benefit the membership and the community board as a whole.
Thank you for saying that, Andrew. We had our first onboarding session yesterday. It was really great. There'll be several more for those of you who are returning or new appointees. I have to shout out my phenomenal director of community affairs, Trisha Shimamura, who I think all of you know. She gets a big thumbs up from our chair, and I have to credit her for designing a phenomenal board recruitment and selection and now onboarding process. We're going to do our best to really support every one of you everywhere we can.
Thank you very much. And it's going to definitely make our job much easier as we do initiate our process next week. So I have one question regarding the EO from the city and state level. Do you have any indications? I know in communications with Adele Bartlett, she was hoping to catch some wind on whether they were going to extend the EO at the state side through through June. Or do we have any indication from the mayor's office?
We don't have any word yet. We keep asking. And Adele Bartlett, someone we might not know, is our general counsel. We're pushing very hard to get clarification. We will share information as soon as we get it. We will definitely keep you posted.
Okay, thank you. All right, wonderful. I don't see any other hands raised. Thank you for making the time and being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So long as we're virtual, it'll make it easier for us to be many places at once. And stay safe. Thank you very much, Borough President Levine. Okay, wonderful. We're going to move the agenda along to one comment before we go to environment, open space, and parks. And I just, again, we're going to address some of this with our new members, but I'd like to remind how we build relationships. And again, we talk about different businesses and how we build good working relationships. And I'll call into as a point Costco here in East Harlem, when they were looking to land here, and some of you may recall, there was massive advocacy for them to accept EBT and SNAP, and there was initial resistance to that. But through that advocacy, in tandem with Brooklyn, we rolled out a pilot program to accept that EBT and SNAP, and allowing for accessible healthy foods and be able to buy in bulk, which typically they were not willing to entertain, but it was through our advocacy and our positions that they were willing to pilot here, and then it rolled out nationwide. So again, it's a small success, but it's little bits at a time. And again, whether it's a small business who's wanting to engage with us, with the Open Streets program that helped us survive and rescue many businesses. Within the first 2 months, we lost 43 back in 2020. Again, we do our level best to make a difference. So again, little bits and bobs we take along. So I'm going to move the meeting to environment, open space, and parks. And Jessica Elliott, you are up.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I hope you are all doing well. We had a really productive meeting, packed agenda. So as usual, our meeting minutes are for informational purposes, but just to give a couple of highlights, we had a presentation from the MTA on the connection of an ADA ramp from the RFK Bridge walkway to the future Manhattan Greenway segment along the Harlem River, or future Richard Toussaint Park. So this is something that has been incorporated in the design plans from the beginning. They just have presented a little bit more information on what it would look like. They're expecting that the project will complete at the end of March 2023. There was a second presentation from EDC regarding the Harlem River Park. So they build off what was presented with the ADA ramp from MTA, but Michael Haggerty from Star White House presented on the updates made based on our feedback from the last community board. They were able to increase a few of the amenities at the park, and also made some updates based on logistical challenges from the waterfront structural systems. So they last came to present to us in February, and they're finishing their design documentation and will begin construction soon. And that would be anticipated to go on for 2 years. Eto Otigbe also presented updates to the art intervention that'll be part of the park. So that's to reflect on the ecology and cultural ecosystem of Harlem. There's a lot more information on all of these things in the minutes if you have a chance to read them. Finally, there was a presentation for a plan for the renovation of PS 155's playground comfort station. So this is a pretty dilapidated existing building. It's going to be a $1.4 million project for their 400 square foot comfort station. So it's going to be made ADA compliant with upgraded finishes, as well as a few additional amenities from baby changing stations and wall mounted drinking fountains. So it will not affect the school during construction, but just to make you all aware of that, we will be voting on a letter of support at the next meeting if you would like to attend. That's it from our end. I'll take any questions.
Okay, please, board members. Okay, Jewel Jones. Jewel, your question.
Thank you. So I attended the meeting. I just want to get some clarification as to whether the sanitation presentation will take place at the June meeting. And if so, in light of what Metropolitan is doing in terms of the flood wall and the resiliency project, I would love to hear from sanitation in terms of 99th Street and sanitation as well as Metropolitan, but let's just talk about sanitation, DSNY.
You read our agenda's mind, because both of those things are on the agenda for this upcoming meeting. We've invited DSNY to come present. We have a number of questions for them about a number of their sites around the community, as well as their commitments from the points of agreement, and just to generally get a check into what their plans are. And the other element was the Metropolitan Flood Wall Project. They are also coming to to give a presentation at our next meeting.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Seeing no others, yeah, let's move along to Human Services. Thank you, Jessica. Okay.
Okay.
Pastor Isaac Scott, there you are. Okay.
What's up?
Floor is yours.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Peace and blessings, everyone. I pray that all is well with each of you. I want to welcome all new members to the community board. My name is Isaac Scott, and I'm the chairperson of the Human Services Committee. I want to shout out everyone who stuck it out with me on my first lead. I led my first committee meeting as the chair this month, so I appreciate everybody who stuck it out with me and gave me the encouragement. I appreciate you all helping me to transition into this leadership position. And I also want to just encourage new members to consider leadership on the community board as well. So I also just have updates for informational purposes. I have a few, but I will do my best to get through them as quick as possible, because I know it's late and folks want to get off the phone. Okay, so the borough president said some of this, but I'll reiterate this a little more thoroughly because it's relevant and it should be on the record. We received informational monthly COVID updates from the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. They come every month and give us updates on COVID. I want to just reiterate the encouragements: wear your mask indoors and on all public transportation, get vaccinated and boosted. At least one vaccine booster shot is now recommended for everyone 5 and older who is fully vaccinated. A second booster shot is also recommended for all people who are 50 years of age and older. people who are 12 to 49 years of age who are moderately or severely immunocompromised, and people who are 18 to 49 who received the primary and booster dose of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So for those three demographics, a second booster shot is available for you. So I just wanted to state that on the record, just again for everyone's hearing. If you're not boosted, please go get boosted. It's important. It does help a lot. During our business session, we heard from the budget liaison, New York, from DIFTA, the New York Department of the Aging, regarding the mayor's preliminary budget for fiscal year 23. The Human Services, just to provide a little context, the Human Services Committee created 14 budget requests pertaining to seniors, mental health, COVID-19, healthcare, and substance misuse. And only one budget was funded for fiscal year 23. So we reached out to folks who, so also keep in mind, I'm transitioning into this. So I'm communicating some of what I understand what took place already and what I am committing to take on in this leadership role. So some of the organizations were reached out to, some responded, some did not. We have DIFTA, as I stated, they came before us. They presented a rebuttal, I would say, to our request and just why didn't you fund what we wanted. He broke down, I won't get too much into what was stated because you can just, watch the video for the meeting, and I'm happy to leave that in the chat later just for easy access. But he did break it down for us with case management. There was a proposed $6 million going to case management. He did give us some assurances in some areas and home care. And, there's money becoming available. A lot of the jargon, let me not use that word, but a lot of the language used was citywide. So it's not really clear what's actually going to land in East Harlem, but we're definitely going to, stay on them to, I know specifically, I will just to ensure that we know what's actually landing our way because the city's pretty big. He also let us know about some senior care RFPs that have just closed. We're in a new contract with senior care centers because that was a request, also better care centers. So we're in a new contract, or rather they're in a new contract, which will extend through the next 3 years. I think it went from December of last year, so it'll go until 2024, December of 2024, excuse me. The Department of Mental Health and Hygiene did not attend, but they did send over the transcript of their testimony delivered to the council at their prelim budget hearing. And they did so to assure us that they are or have and are doing a lot to address the public health needs requests that we made. I will be emailing that information to the committee members and to those community members who would like to learn more and just look that over for themselves. In particular, DOHMH highlighted Public Health Corps, and this is a program designed to better link New Yorkers to clinical public health and social service and the social services they need. So sort of more like a networking system that helps to get people better access to more tailored services for them. So they wanted to mention that as a highlight because it sort of aligned with one of the requests that we made. Moving on. We had an informational presentation from the shelter programs at Volunteers of America, VOA, provides services to families in need of emergency services, transitional housing, permanent support housing. So last year they needed to renew their license with DHS, so they have to come before the board to renew their permit, or what is it, their license, their contract, excuse me. And in doing so, the committee requested that we have someone be added to, a community advisory board. That request was met. Our vice chair, Arturo Perez, now sits on that advisory board. And another request we made was that they come before us and they give updates. So that is what they did. Forgive me for fumbling through that. I was trying to do it without reading my notes. So I'm trying to get better at just keeping all of this in my head. It's a lot of information. So bear with me.
You're doing well there.
Thank you, appreciate you. So yeah, so I again, they gave a good report. They also requested that we also help connect them with some services that they that may be able to help them better refer some of their clients to services as they are receiving the services they provide. So without going too far into that, they did have a good report. So we do appreciate them coming before us. And you can definitely, watch the video, read the minutes when they're available and see more about that. Some old business, and this is relevant to a lot of what has been being spoken about with respects to the oversaturation of substance abuse programs or just social service programming in East Harlem, not just in East Harlem, in communities of color, period. This is an issue, but it's very much an issue in East Harlem. One of the things that I'm committing to is the enhancement of our pre-existing assessment tool, which is essentially an organizational questionnaire to assess the efficacy of the existing substance abuse and social support programs in East Harlem. I believe this will help us to understand more about the role that each program is currently playing, whether that is good or bad. I also believe that it'll help us to gather data and information we need to effectively advocate in opposition to these programs being brought in. So it's hard to advocate when we really don't have the correct information or the right data to say, listen, this bringing this in is really having this harmful effect. Here are the numbers. It's sad that it takes numbers a lot of times to get people to understand the impact that we very clearly see every day. But sometimes that's what it takes. So we want to make sure that we are sharpening our tool belt to be able to advocate sufficiently for East Harlem. So that is one of the things that I am committing to right off the bat. As the committee chair, I'm going to be working with my committee with that, pushing us all to just be more active and engaging, with the committee business, because we are the advocates, the representatives for the community in a lot of ways, in many ways. So we really need to step into that. So that's really where I'm at with the community board, or at least the committee that I'm placed to oversee at the second moment. Foreseeable future. Yeah.
Thank you.
I have one last update. No, I just gave it. That was it. I'll leave the link to the committee recording in the chat for easy access. Again, thank y'all. Appreciate y'all for your patience with me. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, first, thank you for taking on the role as Chair of Human Services. It's a massive lift, so appreciate you doing off to a great start. Are there any questions from our committee members? No, not seeing any. Thank you.
No questions.
I appreciate it. And we'll see you at the next Human Services Committee. Thank you for a great update. And remember, committee members, the committee is where we do our work. So thank you for looping us all in, Pastor Isaac Scott. I'm going to move along to Public Safety and Transportation. Jose Altamirano. You
Can you
are
hear me?
up.
I'm
Yep,
up.
Gotcha.
Most of what we did was for informational purposes. However, we did pack this month's committee with some great programming, particularly from Concrete Safaris, Mike Levine. Michael Parker also gave an informational presentation on the Assertive Community Engagement and Success, which is ACEs. These are programs that are based on helping young people proceed in life As you all know, in public safety, our biggest issue is youth violence. This is something that we have to deal with. And the earlier we get to these kids with these kind of programs, and in a matter of ACEs, once, even if they have an issue, we can give them that supportive programming. It can change lives. So we're looking forward to continue bringing these kind of resources. I hear a lot of times that these resources don't exist, but we have a lot of these programs and we just want to make the community aware of it. We also had a walkthrough with DOT and the 23rd precinct for 106th Street. We're making walkthroughs for pedestrian safety, focusing on curbs, pedestrian lead times, which has every intersection has a red light and it gives a few seconds for pedestrians to cross, countdown lights, things of this nature. Next, we'll move to 116. After we do the major intersections, then we'll go to the smaller intersections as well. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Jose. Do we have any questions from our board? Marissa Mack?
No, no questions. I just want to say Jose has been great in terms of just really engaging our 23rd and our 25th precinct, especially now with a lot of the crime that's been going on, not only within our community, but throughout the city overall. So just wanted to say thank you, Jose, for your work. Also, I just wanted to mention, while we have a number of people on this call, that the precincts for small businesses, something that I had mentioned, but is actually already happening through Uptown Grand Central, is that the precincts have been providing informational sessions on ways to kind of protect your business. And I also believe they have a division that will allow you to kind of have someone come in to say what are some additional ways that you can protect your business, whether it's moving lighting, whether it's moving furniture certain places just to make things more accessible or less accessible. So I just wanted to mention that because I'm not sure that all businesses are aware that this is something that they can reach out to their precincts to provide. And I think right now, with a lot of businesses closing early, we've had a lot of robberies of our small businesses, unfortunately, and a lot of break-ins. So just wanted to let businesses that are on this call know that there is something that they can do to help to prevent some of these crimes that are going on and that are happening against their businesses. So thank you.
Thank you, Marissa. Michelle, you have a question.
I have a question I just wanted to add. It's called the Crime Prevention Survey. And this is an offshoot of an inside of the 2-3 and the 2-5. And they will come to any business and give an observation. So it's specific to your business. It's not an overall, it's specific to your business. And it's called the Crime Prevention Survey that they will do.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you, Michelle. There's one Uptown Grand Central is doing, that's an overall, but they will do a specific one. Just wanted to make it clear. But thank you, Michelle.
Thank you for the clarification. All right, thank you, Jose. Going to move things along. We have next our land use, landmarks, and planning. Jason Villanueva is out today. So Angel, would you like to give a brief update?
Sure. Good evening again, everyone. The liaison for the Land Use Committee, reporting on behalf of Committee Chair Jason Villanueva, who was not able to make it this evening. The committee had 3 main items on the agenda. 2 were updates on major development projects that came through the board about 5 years ago and have been stalled for a couple of different reasons. The first project is the 126th Street Harlem African Burial Ground Memorial Mixed Use Project that is going, that is that's planned to result in the development, in a mixed use development that will include, I think, upwards of 200 some odd units of housing, a commercial space, and a memorial recognizing the history of the Harlem African Burial Ground. That project, the last that we had heard of it, EDC's plan, rollout plan for it was to issue a request for expression of interest to identify a cultural operator for the memorial. At the conclusion of, like, the idea was that once an operator was selected, then EDC would issue a request for proposals to identify the developer for the project. However, the RFEI cycle ran into, or was interrupted by the pandemic. And subsequently, in December of this past year, EDC chose to pull the RFEI and delay the project for the time being. What they're going to do is proceed with the demolition of the bus depot and continue their continue with their investigation of the burial ground, and then proceed with the demolition of the bus depot with an eye towards restarting the development cycle in the near future, in the future. The second update was in relation to the co-op tech project that came through the board in 2017 as well, which some of you may recall, and new members, of course, won't know. The Co-op Tech High School is located on First Avenue, 98th Street or 99th Street, I forget, 96th Street. And the city's Educational Construction Fund was pursuing a project in partnership with a private developer to develop a residential tower on that site. The developer would be then responsible for building brand new school facilities for Co-op Tech High School, in addition to Heritage High School and Park East High School. And lastly, renovate the Marx Brothers Playground, which is located on that block. The ULURP for that project was passed in 2017. Subsequently, the project has been the subject of a lawsuit that has held up the start of that project for the last 5 years. The lawsuit ended up losing. The folks that put the case forward lost. However, there have been so many delays with the project that ECF and the city are now looking towards changing the scope of that project and are considering the possibility of constructing the new school buildings for Heritage and Park East on another site, not at 96th Street. ECF has committed to return to the Land Use Committee to elaborate on their plans at the June Land Use Committee meeting. And then lastly, the committee had a discussion on the 421A property tax exemption program. As I mentioned at this meeting last month, the Housing Committee heard 2 very informative presentations on the 421A program at its meeting in March. We've had subsequent conversations about, where is it most appropriate to have a conversation about, where to weigh in on the tax exemption program, and also concerns that have been expressed by folks in the community that live in properties that were developed under this program and are now facing the expiration of their tax exemption. So the committee started their conversation about that, has invited State Senator Cordell Clear to the June meeting and intends to continue that conversation then. I encourage any of you that are interested in that meeting to view the recording. The minutes are not up yet, but the recording of the meeting is available on the board's YouTube page, Manhattan Community Board 11. And that's all.
Thank you, Angel. I see a question from Eugene Rodriguez. Eugene.
Hi, Angel. I'm sorry. Is the Heritage School the one that's currently housed in Julia de Burgos Cultural Center?
Yes.
So the Cultural Center won't be free of this school until Heritage moves out when this new building is built?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Just adding on that, and thank you for bringing it up, Eugene. There is a commitment by the Department of Cultural Affairs that once that school does leave there, then the rest of the building will be, just for, it will be handed over to the Department of Cultural Affairs for the Julia de Burgos Cultural Center and not a school.
Thank you, Eugene. Great question. Jessica Morris and then David Giordano.
Thank you, Xavier. Thank you, Angel, for the recap. A question, just point of clarification. The ECF's commitment to build the schools on another site, should they not get built on the 97th Street site, that other site is to be determined, correct? Does
Yes.
not yet exist?
No.
Question mark. Okay.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you. Angel. David Giordano, you have a question.
Sorry, I'm having bad connection, so I'm using the phone and the camera, computer.
Quite
So
all right.
I, some of my concern is, and I voted no against this in the past, not to support new schools being built, but they never came before the Youth and Education Committee while they went to so many other committees. And I would hope if we're addressing new schools that we involve CEC involved in this, as well as the DOE in District 4, and what are their opinions about where these other, I mean, where are they going to put two big new schools when we have no other land except on 111th Street, and that's just got built up. So, I would hope that Youth and Education would be involved as well in these conversations, and that there would be a presentation to the Youth and Education group, as they failed to do that in the past. And there was some storm and something happened that they didn't make it, but they should have still came back. So thank you, Angel. And I can't believe it's 5 years. Wow.
Yep. When it came up, we were both very shocked at the time. Eugene, you had a follow-up question?
Yeah, my understanding is that the school that they're proposing is going to be south of 96th Street, and they already do have a site.
They didn't say anything of the kind. Where did you hear that they're
I got that from
considering
my
south of them?
Bochincha network, which is citywide.
All from the Bochincha network.
You know, I've been on this case for the last 15 years.
It works, Eugene. It works.
Well, hopefully.
Okay. Thank you, Gene. Okay, let's, seeing no more questions, I think I'll move us along to our next committee, which is Youth and Education. David, you're up.
Okay, so let me switch. I'll go back. I got too many things. So unfortunately, we didn't have quorum this month, and that's a big surprise because we have been doing really good for many years with the Youth and Education. And I think it just speaks again to how we have to look at who's committed to being on the board. And while the process to remove somebody is long and it is a unfortunate, challenging process, I think we can move people from committees because, as you said, Xavier, committees where the real work begins. And if we're not able to have a meeting because somebody's not going to be able to come for legitimate reasons, we should be able to remove them from a committee because that's within your authority as the chair. But I'll say this, what I did get to say, while there were so many things to talk about that we had planned for our meeting, what I didn't really get to say was, and Borough President Levine got to before me, was to thank Yolanda Brown, who had been my vice chair for the last 4 years. We really worked together and developed a real relationship where she was really a spiritual leader for me as well in the work and then how do we balance all this. So I really want to give big kudos to Reverend Brown, who has decided to take on a leadership program and is very committed to that and would occupy her time. So again, thank her. I guess I want to touch on some new things. I want to first thank new members. You know, one of the goals that I've been working on the committee is to help youth, support youth getting on the board. And I continue to see new members come on who are on the younger side. So I thank Brianna, and, you know, I worked with her prior to coming on the board on a few situations and was really glad to hear that she made the board. And welcome to all the new members. I hope that you get to the Youth and Education Committee to see what we're about and how you could support the committee in moving forward. So I don't know if any of y'all noticed, but behind me it says why. And there's actually a bullet going through. And I think, you know, as a youth leader in this community, we have to keep asking ourselves why. And this was a project kids and I worked on at Children's Aid East Harlem Center about 8 years ago. And things haven't changed. You know, I think Elsie's now circled back and is working with the councilwoman's office again when we first worked on this project. And what has changed? You know, we have to start doing something different to save our youth. Before the meeting I came on, I heard 10 youth. Now during the meeting, it's 18. I mean, that's 18 families that are devastated and 18 families who have friends. And as we multiply that, I don't know what we do different. So I'll move to the next thing. And one of the things I hope I sent an invite to Xavier and the board, to Angel, to attend our youth summit that we will have on June 6th. And I think, Eugene, you're going to be involved. You met with Tiffany. You're going to bring some youth on June 6th to the youth summit, where we've been working with youth from Lexington Academy around advisory and lending youth voices. And the topic is learning each other together. And it's really powerful. We worked with these kids for the last several months. And this is part of work that consortium started in reaching out and getting a grant for the TREE project, which is Task Force on Racial Inclusion and Equity. And that's been working through Scan Harbor and the East Harlem Consortium to address kind of concerns in the community. And we've been meeting with kids, and we're going to have a summit where they're going to share their voices about the youth violence in their community, about bullying in their community, and about parents. And it's really going to amaze you if you can attend to hear what these young people are going to talk about and really share their concerns. So again, that will be on June 6th at the Lexington Academy. It is from 3 to 5. So we hope everybody comes out. This is a joint adventure spark, but we really have to do something different in protecting our youth so that they have a future, as we are all sitting here as well. I look forward to meeting and working with new members. And I look forward to Xavier also supporting how we can do the orientation up at the open streets, so.
Look forward to seeing you there, David. And please, now, to all the new members who are still on, June, you can, while we are still able to be virtual, so if they do extend the emergency order, we will be able to be virtual through the entire month, but until through June 14th, we'll be able to be virtual. Please log in, listen to the meetings, and participate as much as you can do. This is where you can really see where the rubber meets the road. Thank you, David, very much. Let's move along to economic development and culture. So Marissa, I'm going to pass the baton to you and go ahead and present on the two items as well as what was discussed at the meeting. And then I'd like to combine both of these letters of support.
Sure. So quickly at our meeting, just wanted to note quickly that I helped to not really co-host, but we sponsored I guess, quote unquote, Rad Academy with Uptown Grand Central and Union Settlement Department of Health that really just talked about the situation that we have here in the city with the rats. Went into a lot of detail, which I was not able to stomach, but very much needed in regards to how our rats survive and live and thrive within our community, and some of the things that we can do primarily as commercial either landlords or tenants of our community to kind of rid ourselves of rats and learn their behavior. So it was very interesting. Unfortunately, was not recorded, but they will have other sessions. So if there's anyone on this call that wants to obtain any more information, can definitely connect you with the Department of Health, and they can give you some more information on upcoming academies. As far as our meeting, we had two letters of requests coming through. One was a support for the Harlem Festival of Culture, which will be a year-long celebration throughout the Harlem community, really just highlighting areas of our community that will lead up to a that will lead up to a concert in 2023. So there'll be a number of events throughout the year. The presentation was brought forth by Nicoa Evans of Harlem Park to Park, and Musa Jackson, who is very instrumental in bringing the documentary Summer of Soul, for those who have seen it, along with Questlove, who was able to bring it forth, but it did happen within the confines of Community Board 11. And so the letter requesting support was just to enhance the programming and to support the programming throughout the year. Again, that would lead to the concert in 2023. We also had a presentation from Carmen Polano, who is a community artist. Actually have a relationship with her. She did our first gate. My building has 3 commercial spaces, and she was the first artist to paint our gate. We paid her. And so very happy to have seen her present at our committee meeting. She has worked with a number of individuals throughout the community on a crochet art piece that will be unveiled at the Cherry Tree Park, which is on 99th. It's between 99th and 100th Street and 3rd Avenue, which is right next to PS 109, for those who are familiar with that building. And so she wanted a letter of support from us to support the unveiling of this project. I think it's supposed to be a surprise, but we clearly have it here. So I don't know who will be at the unveiling, but it will be of Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. It's beautiful, it's huge. And so we had a presentation on that. Also just wanted to note that we also heard from Urban Garden. This is the garden store that is under the 125th Street Viaduct. We specifically heard from Dimitri, who is concerned about what's going to happen with his business as MTA moves forward with the project to do some reconstructing under the viaduct. We did let him know that we will reach out to both EDC and MTA. This has already been done. I've had a number of conversations with MTA. They've been very responsive and continue to be. We're still waiting to hear from EDC in regards to their plans, but Dimitri had concerns which were very notable and rightfully so, right? He's advocating for his business and just kind of wanted to know what's going to happen with the movement, where he's going to go, who's going to cover the cost, things that you need to know as a business owner. So we have since reached out to both MTA. I've heard from MTA. I'm still waiting to hear from EDC, but we'll have more information in regards to that. Also had continuous conversations with Classical Theater of Harlem, and very happy about the partnership that we've continued to have with them. This year, they are having their programming, which starts in July, and they will be including pop-up businesses from East Harlem this year. It's primarily West last year, but this year they'll have both East and West businesses included in that, which we're very excited about. Also connected them with Union Settlement. So they will be sourcing summer youth employment youth to work at Classical Theater of Harlem this year. So very happy about that. So we will have members and youth from our community working at Classical Theater of Harlem, seeing their community, seeing people from their community working and thriving next to them. So very happy about the meetings that we've been having and the partnership that's growing there. And then lastly, just wanted to just thank Jennifer Meyer, who will serve as our task force representative from the Economic Development Committee. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit later, but just wanted to say thank you to her. And I also did not thank the new members that are in. So just wanted to thank you all for joining CB11 and looking forward to everyone being engaged. And then please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. So just going back to our two letters that were presented, or two recommendations that were presented, and then hoping we can move forward with a vote to support both of these initiatives within the community.
Great. Thank you very much, Marissa. Do we have any questions first? John Green?
Thank you, Xavier. Marissa, you mentioned the unveiling of the crochet mural. Is there a date for that?
There is. June, hold on, I gotta look at my email. I know I don't have it right here. Hold on. And there is a flyer that Carmen provided. Let me look that up, John, and I'll drop it in the chat.
Great, because Cherry Tree Park is right around the corner from my house. So,
Yeah, absolutely, will do.
okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, John. Thank you, Marissa. I don't see any other questions. It's very exciting. And we're going to have the installation with the crochet mural, and it was a very wonderful presentation with the Harlem Festival of Culture. I'd like to entertain a motion to combine one of these to support the committee's recommendation to grant letters of support for Carmen Paulino's installation of crochet mural honoring Supreme Justice Sonia Sotomayor in Cherry Tree Park, and a letter of support for development ongoing programming for the Harlem Festival of Culture. Well, a bunch of hands went up all at once. I'm going to go to Michelle and then John.
I would definitely put those two together and have a beautiful installation by Carmen. And I'm so happy that she did that and honoring. So happy. So yes.
Okay, so motion to support both items, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. John?
Second.
And John, just to add, the date is June 11th at 2 p.m. But we do have the flyer, so Angel hopefully can pass around so everyone can see and hopefully be there and support. But it's awesome. Yeah.
That'll be great. Great. Giselle, please call the roll.
Jose Altamirano,
Yes.
Leroy Antino, Stephanie Arroyo,
Of course, yes.
April Autry, Adem Brija,
Yes.
Juhad Shardy, Diane Collier,
Yes.
Devon Cronshaw,
Yes.
Kenneth Crouch,
Yes.
Brianna Da Costa, Carlos Diaz,
Yes.
Rosa Diaz,
Yes.
Angela Donado,
Yes.
Jessica Elliott,
Yes.
Judith Fabaro,
Yes.
Roger Flores, Osenthi Garcia, Brandon Gillespie,
Yes.
David Giordano,
Yes.
John Green,
Absolutely.
Wanda Hopkins, James Horton,
Yes.
Alonso Johnson,
Yes.
Jewel Jones,
Yes.
Marissa Mack,
Yes.
I vote yes. Malik McCullough,
Yes.
Jennifer Meyer,
Yes.
Jessica Morris,
Yes.
Noso Rama,
Yes.
Beverly Pavon,
Yes.
Arturo Perez,
Yes.
Claudia Perez,
Yes.
Roberto Perez, Savasia Robinson Teague, Eugene Rodriguez,
Yes.
Dawn Sanders, Xavier Santiago,
Yes.
Isaac Scott,
Absolutely.
Russell Schuler,
Yes.
Vincent Torres, Anne Marie Vasquez, Hilda Vives Vasquez, Michelle Wilcher Clement,
Absolutely.
Jordan Wright,
Yes.
Jason Wu. Motion passes.
Thank you all so much. And it's great to see, for EchoDev, I feel like we focus a lot more on economic development, but happy to see when we do have just good art work and good programming that's coming forth that we can really support. So thank you all.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much, Marissa. We are nearly there, nearly at the end. Thank you for our new board members. Some meetings are a little bit long, but they're long as we maintain our productivity. And we've had a very beefy schedule. and agenda. So we're going to move on to the executive committee and what we discussed. We had a fairly lengthy but productive in the end. I addressed in the opening remarks with our public hearing. Sorry, one of our members texting that's here. Okay. We had the resolution, which was shared with the board in advance and publicly posted to adopt procedures provided by the New York State Open Meetings Law, Chapter 56, the laws of 2022. You can see that there, and you will be able to, you should have reviewed it by now. Let me just pull up here. So we had that agenda item that came before us, and we then had a second discussion. We had that motion was made to adopt that resolution by Michelle Wiltshire Clement and seconded by Adem Priha, passed with 2 abstentions, Marissa Mack and Giselle Malave. But it did pass. We will be convening again prior to June 14th to discuss the operations for a hybrid and guidelines for a hybrid meeting. We are currently in discussions and will be convening the entire executive committee to weigh out everything so that we can inform the full body. The committee discussion, we had a committee discussion regarding the formation of a Second Avenue subway task force. And a lot of these issues we are taking on are from lessons learned with phase 1. We discussed how Valerie Mason from CB8, who sat on that task force, is willing to come and present to us and kind of explain their lessons they experienced, whether it was issues with noise pollution or actual dust being thrown out into the air on the streets, and that pushed the task force against CB8 to consider even lawsuits in combination with the block associations to have them put in air filtration system. So that's something that we'll be dealing with. We reviewed Emily Sun's presentation, which is available on our website, and how we would structure everything. One of the parts that Angel shared with us, which I found very helpful, is the utilizing station stops and convening smaller groups that will then report back to the larger task force. So for example, we will have a stop at 106, 116th, 125th, and then having those stakeholders meeting with a member or 2 from our committee or task force and being able to relay that information and what we can do and carrying forth a more informed response. So that was, we will be delegating that coming in the coming weeks. We've asked the chairs to please assign by tomorrow or identify a member who's willing, capable, and has the skill set to participate in that task force. We will be following through with these measures that we, once we break ground, for the next 7 to 10 years to make sure we get all the commitments this board deserves. So let's move along here. We further discussed the onboarding process, training that's going to happen on May 31st with Angel. As you heard from the BP's office, he's already discussed how they did one yesterday with all the new members across the borough. And then we will have a follow-up one that'll be in person, 101st and Lexington Avenue, where we will literally see real-world application of the good work we will complete. Okay, nearly there. Board member attendance we addressed, which was already reported back by Giselle Malave. Committee discussion on committee minutes. Again, reminding our chairs, we have to get them out in a timely fashion. It's important for the public so that they can have a review, even if it's in draft form. And then we also very proud to announce that we had our Instagram handle is going live. It's Manhattan CB11. So that when we're in events, we can actually take pictures, say, for example, Earth Day, or when we're doing the training at 101st and Lex, and being able to really elevate the board in our work. And then finally, we had under our new business, a request for a letter of support for the NTA application for U.S. Department of Transportation mega grant funding for the Park Avenue viaduct. As is explained early in the presentation there, they're looking to replace segments of the viaduct from 115th to 119th Street and then 128th to 130th Streets approximately. and it'll occur in 2 phases. There've been meetings, as was mentioned by Marissa Mack from EcoDev, with the MTA and the Urban Garden Center, dealing with their relocation. And the committee did pass a letter of support with the adjustments to the provided letter, and include language regarding examples such as securing surrounding infrastructure, safety, health, and other business concerns, as well as local hiring. So those were the, again, that motion to issue the letter of support was made by Jessica Elliott and seconded by Michelle Welch Clement, and passed unanimously. So if there is no objection, I'm going to separate these two because one is dealing with the public hearing, and then the second one is dealing with the letter of support. So Jessica Morris, you have a question.
I do. I have a question and a point for clarification. One, the question is just for general information and that we're getting started, the location of minutes. And I sort of asked this because I have to remind myself, I used to pick them up at the table when we would all meet in person. And that was a wonderful way to get up to speed before the report backs. But the location of the minutes is often as a link on our calendar, and that's the place the minutes are filed. Is that correct? They're not in the folder of meeting information that we receive as a link from Angel to the meeting. Is that right?
They typically will be in the link to the meeting information. They did not make them because I still had to review one draft, and regrettably I had a severe migraine yesterday while I was finalizing a once over. So that's why executive was not included in that. So.
No, none of the committee minutes are in the meeting information folder. The place we go to is the calendar. Is that correct? Or they should be contained?
Angel?
That's correct, Jessica. You go to the calendar.
Yeah, the calendar.
Okay, great. Thank you for the clarification. The other, before we get to voting on the open meetings law resolution, however you're going to do that, there's a couple of typos, whereas 6, whereas 7, and resolution 1 and resolution 2, it says CB1. I assume that means CB11. We just left off a 1 4 times. And my question is with regard to voting. I know the stipulation of needing to be seen, heard, seen, and identified as point 4B of the ability of members to participate virtually. Essentially, that's how it stood now, but I think we've all kind of reverted into a lax of not necessarily being on camera for 4 hours. Will that necessarily be something that's required to be enforced, and will heard, seen, and identified, especially during a vote? Will people who are needing to attend virtually because of whatever reason, as per the rules written, they will still be allowed to vote as a virtual participating board member, correct?
That is our understanding. However, if we lose a physical quorum in the room, then the meeting is no longer convened.
Okay, thank you.
My understanding. And yes, as to the see heard, that was heavily discussed, and how that would be enforced, and whether that's a secretary or one of the staff saying, hey, we need you on camera. And part of this, again, which is what has been expressed in previous meetings, is, hey, come on, say hello at the beginning, or, while you're voting, click on, unless you have, again, say you're feeling unwell, but you still want to participate. And again, as explained earlier, the extraordinary circumstances being illness, pre-existing condition, childcare that comes up for issues like that is extraordinary. If we extend the EO, not us, but if the state or the municipality, a village could extend their EO if they so choose, or the city, then we can remain in a virtual environment. And I would encourage many of us to come on camera whenever we can do. So, but it is exhausting for the eyes. It's different than being in a room. So that is a valid complaint that was registered throughout Borough Board. It's different than being in space. So, yeah.
Sorry, my question, point of clarification, was about the ability to vote virtually. Quorum is understood, that's in writing. there is no language about members are allowed to vote, and their vote will count in full force of their presence, even if they are virtual.
City law, we've asked that for clarification, but our understanding at this time is it can vote. However, if we lose physical quorum of those members collected in person, it may not, because then the body is not convened. That is what was explained. So
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm going to separate these two real quick. Is there a motion to adopt the committee's resolution with noted corrections? Yes, Jessica Morris.
Just to clarify, we are, I would motion to adopt the resolution regarding open meetings amended procedures.
Yep. Angel, do you want to bring that up on screen, what the committee presented? Just so we're clear.
Yeah, it's gonna take a minute.
Yep, stand by, everyone. And that was the second one that was originally authored by CB1. And then Eugene, I'll come to you with your hand raised. Thank you very much. Okay, all right, if you can see it on the screen, everyone. So which whereas did you want to note of correction, Jessica?
6 and 7
Okay.
are left over from Community Board 1, and the further resolved that first clause and further resolved that second clause are also still left from CB1.
Okay. So adding the additional one for whereas clauses, whereas 6 and 7 to make it CB11. And then you said right here at the further resolved paragraph, so the first paragraph or full paragraph on the second page or third page, this then CB11 will direct the staff, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. And if there are no further points of clarification, thank you very much for that, Jessica. Eugene? Muted? Eugene, you're muted.
I understand that Jessica put in a motion to accept. I'll second.
Well, I was looking for her first. She was just putting in points of clarification. So
I'll enter the motion to accept the resolution.
Okay, with those, Beverly, you have your hand.
Yes.
A call for a second.
Yes, I just have a quick question. Good evening, everyone. In regards to this resolution, is this a resolution just for CB11? Or is this like general that all community boards will be doing the same thing and the same type of procedures that we're voting on today for these resolutions? Are they like similar or anything like that?
So every community board was required in order to conduct hybrid meetings to adopt a resolution stating as such, whenever there is emergency order in effect or that when the emergency order lapsed. So in other words, saying this placing an undue restriction on us on being able to conduct business, we're all required. Otherwise, and this was addressed at the beginning, and I'm not sure if you were here at that initial explanation, but if we do not adopt the resolution on June 9th, we will have to go back to full in-person meetings. So that's what happens now. If we don't adopt. If we do adopt, because the EO extends through June 14th from the state side, we will be able to stay virtual until the end of June 14th. And then the next day, June 15th, for our meetings, we can go hybrid or just be in person. The choice is ours. But this affords us that opportunity to stay while the EO is in place in a virtual environment until the end of June 14th, and then we can go hybrid. Otherwise, on June 15th, we would have to be in person, period.
Okay.
I hope that explains it.
Yes, yeah. I was
Yeah.
having technical difficulties all evening, so thank you for clarifying
No
that.
problem. No problem at all. Okay, so we have a first on the floor. I will now call for a second with the resolution with those corrections that have been read into the record. Stephanie Arroyo.
I'm happy to second this.
All right, thank you. Please call the roll, Giselle.
Jose Altamirano. Stephanie Arroyo.
Yes.
Adem Brija.
Yes.
Diane Collier.
Yes.
Devin Cronshaw.
Yes.
Kenneth Crouch.
Yes.
Brianna Da Costa. Carlos Diaz.
Yes.
Rosa Diaz.
Yes.
Angela Donadell.
Yes.
Jessica Elliott.
Yes.
Judith Ferraro.
Yes.
Roger Flores. Rosendi Garcia. Brandon Gillespie.
Yes.
David Giordano.
Yes.
John Green.
Aye.
Wanda Hopkins. James Horton.
Yes.
Alonzo Johnson.
Yes.
Jewel Jones.
Yes.
Marissa Mack.
Yeah.
My vote is a yes. Malik McCullough. Jennifer Meyer.
Yes.
Jessica Morris.
Yes.
Nilsa Orama.
Yes.
Beverly Pavon.
Yes.
Arturo Perez.
Yes.
Claudia Perez.
Yes.
Roberto Perez. Sebastian Robinson Teague. Natasha Eugene Rodriguez.
Yes.
John Sanders. Xavier Santiago.
Yes.
Isaac Scott.
Yes.
Russell Schuler.
Yes.
Vincent Torres. Anne Marie Vasquez. Hilda Vives Vasquez. Michelle Wilshire Clement.
Yes.
Jordan Wright.
Yes.
Jason Wu.
Yes, this is Candy. I have some technical problems. Yes.
Okay.
Jose Altamirano also yes.
Okay.
And
Thank.
and Malik McCullough, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Motion passed.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. And we'll move on to item 39, approved for a letter of support of the MTA's application for a U.S. Department of Transportation's mega grant, National Infrastructure Project Assistance Program funding for the Park Avenue Viaduct project. As was presented in executive and with the edits, yes, we are ready to entertain a motion if there are no questions. I see Jessica and then Marissa.
Motion to support the committee's recommendation for the letter of support to the Metropolitan Transit Authority's application for the U.S. Department of Transportation's mega grant funding for the Park Avenue Viaduct.
Okay, wonderful. Now just clarifying real quick before I entertain a second, Marissa and Michelle, did you have questions or were you going to motion to support?
I was gonna second.
Okay, Michelle, was it to second as well or a question?
It was a second as well.
All right, I'll give this one to Marissa if you don't mind. Seconded by Marissa Mack. Thank you for the motion, Jessica. Please call the roll.
Jose Altamirano.
Yes.
Leroy Andino. Stephanie Arroyo.
Yes.
April Autry. Adem Brija.
Yes.
Juhai Chowardy. Diane Collier.
Yes.
Devin Cronshaw.
Yes.
Kenneth Crouch.
Yes.
Brianna da Costa, Carlos Diaz,
Yes.
Rosa Diaz,
Yes.
Angela Donadon,
Yes.
Jessica Elliott,
Yes.
Judith Febraro,
Yes.
Roger Flores, Osenti Garcia, Brandon Gillespie,
Yes.
David Giordano,
Yes.
John Green,
Aye.
Wanda Hopkins, James Horton,
Yes.
Alonzo Johnson,
Yes.
Jewel Jones,
Yes.
Marissa Mack. My vote is yes. Malik McCullough,
Yes.
Jennifer Meyer,
Yes.
Jessica Morris,
Yes.
Nelsa Orama,
Yes.
Beverly Pavon,
Yes.
Arturo Perez, Claudia Perez,
Money for him.
Yes.
Roberto Perez, Savasia Robinson Teague, Eugene Rodriguez,
Abstain.
John Sanders, Xavier Santiago,
Yes.
Isaac Scott,
Yes.
Russell Schuler,
Yes.
Vincent Torres, Anne Marie Vasquez, Hilda Vives Vasquez,
Yes.
Michelle Wilcher Clement,
Yes.
Jordan Wright,
Yes.
Jason Wu. Motion passes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. We're going to move along. There is no new business.
Yes.
Yes, Eugene.
Yeah, I would like to, I know this might be out of line, but I'd like to get a letter of support from the board to support Assembly Bill A09851, which empowers the Trust for Cultural Resources of the City of New York to designate East Harlem as a cultural district.
Okay, thank you. We've not seen any information before the board or the body. I appreciate your outreach and a phone call and asked for you to email everything over. I haven't seen anything. Was the bill presented to the Economic Development Culture Committee?
Of the board?
Yes.
No,
Okay.
I
So
didn't make the meeting.
No, and I hear that. Thank you. So typically, we customarily will, at the full body when convening, will, unless there's extenuating circumstances and the board bodies have the ability to review everything, whether it is a resolution or a bill or some other item, we're afforded the opportunity to at least have time to review it. However, again, we need that information. We typically refer things back to that committee, which would be, in this case, Economic Development and Culture. I see another hand up from John, and then I saw Stephanie's briefly.
Thank you, Xavier. There's something that's bothering me, and the thing is, it's from the business, and it's silly, but the business with Chipotle, a member of the public said to people who abstain, get a backbone and defend their community. And I noticed some of the people that abstain. The thing is that these people are out there in the community every day, helping all segments of the community. And the thing is, and for them to say that to them was disgraceful. And I just want to say that they disrespected and belittled their commitment and their service. And the person should be ashamed for saying it. That's all I really have to say.
Okay, thank you, John. Thank you. Stephanie?
Thank you, Xavier. So I just want to let I don't know if this is appropriate, but I am now or will be the chair of district needs and budget and district needs. And I just want to make sure that everyone understands that this is a very important committee. And this is a committee that we all need to have input in. And soon enough, like each committee is going to have to provide information. And I don't want to, this was Jason's baby, this was Xavier's baby, and I don't want to let them down. So I'm just letting everyone know, please help me to help us so we can make sure we do a good job moving forward. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think one of our members, Eugene, wanted to present to make a motion of a letter of support, but I wanted to hear from other members who had questions regarding that. Jessica, do you have a question regarding that?
Stephanie, we're with you. Not a question. If Eugene, you could repeat the bill number, I would appreciate that very much. And I'll just put it in the chat so it's in writing if others are curious.
The bill number is 09851. Excuse me, A 09851. And it reads, empowers the Trust for Cultural Resources of the City of New York to designate East Harlem as a cultural district.
I'm curious to hear more. Thank you for bringing it to the board. Hopefully it lands in the right place and we learn about it to learn more and how to support that effort. Thank you, Eugene.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Eugene, for bringing it here. I will say is that we recommend for all of these, and whether I am supportive of an issue or not, and we prefer these items to go through committee so it can be fully addressed and vetted and questions raised. As you heard from the Assemblywoman Inez Dickens, there was some pushback from her side, and that does not necessarily influence our decision, but it does tell us that we need to fully vet and maybe even address and make recommendations to the issue at hand. Carlos, you had a question.
Yeah, I was going to second that, but if you're saying we have to wait, remember this is East Harlem, this is not Central Harlem, so it's important that we keep that in mind.
Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate that. The preference would be for the committee at hand to review it appropriately. We have set a precedence in doing that in the past. And as passionate as I may feel about an issue, I must lay that to the side when chairing this to make sure we follow protocol. However, my having said that, if someone does call, I will have to entertain it. However, I would not want something to fail on the merit of sending it back to committee. I don't think that would be a good look for the board as well, because that has happened and it has influenced these work in the past. So.
Thank you.
So.
I find that acceptable.
Okay. So are you withdrawing?
I would like it to go to committee at least.
Okay, it will absolutely. Marissa, would you please place this matter on your agenda for June?
That would be fine. And Eugene, if you could just send over a sample of the request, that would be great. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We look forward to having a very robust conversation, being able to really weigh in on it in a productive manner. And I appreciate you bringing it before this body, Eugene. I think you will find a greater weight by coming through committee. Thank you. Let the record be noted. We have any old business? Okay, I'm going to please call the roll for attendance.
Jose Altamirano,
Present.
Stephanie Arroyo,
Present.
April Autry, Adem Briha, Juhad Chowdhury, Diane Collier,
Here.
Devin Cronshaw,
Present.
Kenneth Crouch,
Present.
Brianna Da Costa, Carlos Diaz,
Present.
Rosa Diaz,
Present.
Angela Donadell,
Present.
Jessica Elliott,
Present.
Judith Fabraro,
Present.
Raja Flores, Osendi Garcia, Brandon Gillespie,
Present.
David Giordano,
Present.
John Green,
Out. Happy Memorial Day, y'all.
Wanda Hopkins, James Horton,
Present.
Alonzo Johnson,
Here.
Jewel Jones,
Here.
Marissa Mack,
Here.
Malik McCullough, Jennifer Meyer.
Present.
Here. Malik is here.
Okay, Jessica Morris,
I'm here.
Nelson Orama,
Here.
Beverly Pavon,
Present.
Arturo Perez,
Here.
Claudia Perez,
Present.
Roberto Perez, Savasia Robinson Teague, Eugene Rodriguez,
Here.
Don Sanders, Xavier Santiago,
Present.
Isaac Scott,
Present.
Russell Schuler,
Present.
Vincent Torres, Anne Marie Vasquez, Hilda Vivas Vasquez,
Here.
Michelle Butcher Clement,
Present, and welcome all CB new 11 members.
Jordan Wright,
Present.
Jason Wu. Okay, good night, everyone.
All right, real quick announcement. CB11's next full board meeting is scheduled for June 21st, 2022. Thank you, everyone. It was a very long but productive meeting. To all our new members, thank you for your patience. We do a lot of great work. It's a heavy lift. And as you've seen, and I want to say thank you to John Green for expressing what he did. The sheer fact is that a lot of us who take a position, as I explained to this board, abstentions cover a variety of interpretations. And you may have wanted to say yes, but there was something holding you out. And I think to state what was stated was deeply unsettling and inappropriate. However, many of the members who've been on this board for a long time, who went through the rezoning, can recall worse situations. But I think, including where things escalated at a physical level, myself included, where I was assaulted, we have changed the culture of that interaction with the people we represent. So do not have that type of fear going forward. And I will not have anyone personally besmirch this board. I don't think it's appropriate. We stand and do the good work. And I think we should be in a way where we can stand beyond reproach. And I appreciate all of you. I welcome all of you. I look forward to meeting you face to face. And thank you for everyone who's played their part in making this community the best community in New York City. Have a good night. If there are no other announcements.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
all.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Mr. Green. Good night.
Good night, everyone.